Hold on to your mug. We're in for a wild night.
Greeting, traveler.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Born to be Warlock. Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I'm your host, Nate Wolf. As always, tonight, Mike is off. He is hosting Team Hearth Legends Friday night show called Friday Night Fights over on the Team Hearth Legends Twitch page. So if you can catch that in between breaks or catch the VOD later, that'd be awesome. So filling in for him tonight is our good friend Wildcard. So welcome back to the show. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're very festive. I like it. And of course, joining us as always, Hydralisk. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. It's really good to be here. A long week, and I'm stoked to talk some Warlock tonight. Great class, and I'm just really happy to be here. I want to get on talking about all this news and everything we got going on tonight.
Yeah, we got a busy night. All right, you guys, I'm really excited tonight for our special guest. He's a Wild Legendary Hearthstone player and Warlock specialist, all the way from Calcutta, India. Joining us tonight is PalmenausPlastik. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have you. I'm very excited.
Welcome.
Yeah, man, I've been following you for a long time on Twitter. I've seen all your kind of hot takes on the Warlock class, and we've chatted a little bit in the DMs trying to make things work that really had no business working. Like some Malygos Warlock. We're trying to make some kind of discard work. It really doesn't work very well, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's because it's Warlock, it's possible, right? Because we can draw cards that we need. With other classes, you can't.
Absolutely. Hey, so for those people who are watching or listening to the show that aren't as familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Kind of how long you've been playing, how you got into Hearthstone, and that sort of thing?
I don't think I've been playing very long. It's been 8 to 9 months at best. I started out playing a game called Duel Masters. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I was one of the best players in our city, which isn't saying much because no one played it here. But even then, the concept of cards battling it out on a table fascinated me a lot because the only other card games I knew were in a casino, and it wasn't for me. So mainly, I got started out on Hearthstone because a friend introduced me to it, and he has since left the game for reasons best known to him. But finally, that I am here, I saw I absolutely identified with Warlock as a class because in Duel Masters, that game I'm talking about, there was a civilization called Darkness, right? So what it did was it used your own powers, own life total, to give you some benefits. And I think I found a home in Warlock because it did essentially the very same thing. And since I started playing Hearthstone, I've never touched Standard. I mean, for the first month, yes, to build up a collection and to get to unlock Wild, because you have to unlock Wild at that point. And then after I've been in Wild, I've not looked back since.
Awesome.
I forget what does it take again to unlock Wild? It's been so long.
Rank 25, I think. You have to climb from rank 50 to 25. It was a grind, I tell you. And when I joined Hearthstone, it was full of mid-range hunters. I don't know if you're familiar with that deck. It used to be a card. There used to be a card which gains health and life, which gains health points and attack points based on how many minions have died in his board. That was the basis of Standard. 50 games in a row, straight facing that deck.
I had same thing happen to me. I created an EU account in order to play with some friends there, to do a little bit of coaching and stuff, and it started me out also at rank 50 as the was it, bronze chicken or whatever. No, even gosh, above all that, like at the very very beginning, and it doesn't unlock wild until you get to, like you said, rank 25, and it was so frustrating. And because when you start, the only cards in that collection are all the free Demon Hunter cards. So I started playing at rank 50, and that's all I saw. Probably 20 games in a row, Demon Hunter, Demon Hunter, Demon Hunter, and I got so sick of it.
But you know why, right? Because the basic cards of Demon Hunter are much better than the basic cards of everything else. Right?
Absolutely.
Because it was introduced later into the game.
Yeah.
I did it. It was before Demon Hunter came out. I went back and I did the same thing as you, Nate, just for fun to do it. And I made a mid-range hunter. I think Crackling Razor Maw may have still been legal. So like that with Houndmaster and all that fun stuff. But I think I just had like a Savannah High main in there on top and went through. And I even had people message me because I probably had a legendary or two in there that I purposely crafted, dusted everything else. And like, you're not new. You crafted this deck on purpose. I'm crushing the noobs. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just wanted to see how fast I could do it.
Used to be a point I used to think people with golden hero portraits used to be the deal, right? They are the ones to reach. They're the ones to beat. Then it turns out they just play a lot and learn nothing from it.
You're not wrong.
Like, yeah, that totally could be true.
That's pretty funny. No, but I remember when I first started, when you saw somebody either with a legend card back or a golden hero portrait, it was intimidating. And after you play long enough, it just doesn't matter anymore. But yeah, that's pretty funny. So you've only been playing for less than a year. How do you find Wild in terms of, I guess, like difficulty to play or building your collection? How did you go about doing that?
As opposed to standard, or what is the benchmark here?
Well, I suppose what I'm getting at is that Wild has been around for, what are we at, like 6 years now, and so the collection goes way back. So did you, with the old adventures, or how did you get some of the older cards?
So I decided that I want Warlock to be my life, right? So what I did was I dusted every non-Warlock card there was I got, because I was very clear on what I wanted to do. And I started out with my first deck, which is in an even lock. And the difficulty with that was it does not use very common Warlock cards. So what happens is you're stuck with that first deck for a while if you and then you buy packs and then you supplement your collection. That's a different story. When I started out, I obviously didn't invest money in it in the game. But when I started out, Evenlock uses giants and hooked reavers, which no Warlock uses for any purpose. So I stuck with that deck for over a year. I learned the ins and outs of that deck. In fact, I might give a shout out to Ben from work, because I used to copy his lists back in the day when I started out, and he was a great Evenlock player. And finally, when I got over my Evenlock phase, in fact, when Evenlock got over me, I should say, when it became irrelevant in the meta, I crafted finally what was considered core Warlock cards, which are like Skull and Mal'Ganis and Void Lords and things like that, which you find in every other deck. So I started going to cube, and once you craft a cube lock, you basically have everything you need for crafting everything else.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then you buy the League of Explorers adventure, right, to get the Reno cards, and then finally you have a Reno lock. And then you have so much dust because you have not been using anything else, so you craft everything else. And the good thing about Warlock is that it repeats a lot of cards. There is a core package of 8 to 10 cards, I should say, if not more, which involve a lot of repetition in many other decks. And which with other classes, I'm sure it's not the same. And if you add Reno into the mix, you have all the collection you need.
So let me ask you, I mean, I understand why you like Warlock, but why do you? Is it just why do you only play that class? Why would you not why are you a main? I guess is the question. Why would you not venture out to other classes?
There's a simple answer for that. I like having options in my hand, and with other classes, you are given a set of cards, and you are stuck with it until every turn. What happens is it's like life gives you a box of chocolates, right? Make something out of it. But no, I want more chocolate, so I'll tap. That's why I like Warlock. Why shouldn't I, right? If there's a mechanic which allows me to cards, I mean, that just by itself makes the class a whole lot better. I don't care what the other cards are about, as long as I can have what I need. When Even Lock is my favorite deck in the world because it allows me to tap for 1 mana. I am incredibly crazy about having more options in my hand because I am a person who likes to be prepared for every situation. I don't hope that the next card is the card I need. In fact, I prepare for it at the cost of my health total. And in fact, keeping my health total low is something that I pride myself in because as an even log player or even a dark glare warlock player, you should be familiar with sitting at 2 to 10 health, not at 1 because there's no, let's forget 1, but from 2 to 10 you should be very comfortable and be right at home. And if you can do that, and also leverage the fact that giving 2 to 10 health makes you have incredible options in your hands to play, I think no other class in Hearthstone does it.
The only thing that's also 1 mana that does something that's pretty cool, Secret Passage. That'll give you cards you can play with.
Just 4, right?
Yeah. After
Can you
you
do
play
it?
all your cards, then play that, and then you play a bunch more.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's still very randomized. But
yes.
what if you tap from turn 1? If it's even lock, I mean, if you tap from turn 1 and keep tapping until the end of the game, how about that as a possibility?
That's
Yeah.
true. That's a good point. So I was going to ask you the question, but you already sort of revealed it. Your favorite Warlock deck of all time. You said Evenlock?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It's definitely a fun one, and I think that there's a very high skill cap in that deck. I've seen it evolve over the years, and it is a blast. Everywhere from the Hooked Reavers and the Molten Giants,
The best part is making people think that I have no health left, right? But then you come up with a spell stone, and no, first you come up with a board full of giants, then you do a spell stone, then you put taunts in between the giants, and then the opponent is wondering what the hell is going on in this game because I have my even lock is always teched to deal burst damage from hand. I know I shouldn't be talking about even lock, but forgive me. There's my package of even lock, let's call it my optimal package, runs a lot of burn spells like nether breath, dark bomb, hellfire. So in 10 mana I could deal unforeseen damage out of nowhere. The person has no idea what hit him. Forget the giants. He's sitting at 12 health and I can burst him down from there. And that is only possible because Evenlog draws so much that you always have the card you need, which is why it's my favorite deck in the world. It's too bad it's not good in the meta.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of my follow-up question is like, isn't it sort of a sphincter clencher when you're really that low and you're facing something like a secret mage? I mean, like, how do you play against something like that that's just gonna can blast you in the face like that?
I think you outskill them into thinking that you're going to die. And again, Secret Mage, the idea to play Evenlock is that you have to have below 10 health by turn 4 and then get your giants out. So you mulligan differently. You keep spell stones, you keep molten giants, because Secret Mage does not only deal burn damage, it also deals chip damage through minions. That's where its damage source comes from. So you have taunts ready, you have giants ready, and then surprise, there's nothing they can do about it because at 4 mana they can only play a fireball, and at 4 mana I can heal for 7 with spellstones. So it's a high skill game of chess, let's call it, between the two parties because my advantage is that I have more cards. His advantage is that he can just wait out for me to get to 12 health, right? And then he can burst me down with Cloud Prince and Fireball. The only way to play this matchup is to be very low at a very early stage in the game.
Interesting. I like the insight. I appreciate it. So another question for you. We ask everybody that comes on the show, how did you come up with your username? Is there a story behind that? And you were mentioning offline, a lot of people think that you are German.
Yeah. It's based off a German rap song by a band called 187 Straßenbande, and it is well, the lyrics are too vulgar. What Parmenaus Plastik means effectively is that smoking weed under the palm trees. And I have no attachment to that sentiment, but I really love the flow of the song. And the band is quite excellent. Like, I understand that you people are mainly from America and the hip hop culture belongs to you, but the Germans are doing incredibly well in replicating some of their music and putting it out there. And I just thought it's a very cool name. And look, instead of putting my real name out there like Nate Wolf does, I thought, why not popularize a band that no one has heard of?
I like that. I like that. No, I know. I regret using my real name just about every week. So.
Maybe you've tricked us. Maybe you're not really Nate Wolf.
there are at least...
maybe he's not. I've met this Nate Wolf guy. Asked him, "Are you Nate Wolf?" He said, "I should really change my name." And turns out it was not him. There's an imposter running about who is very regretful of the fact there's another Nate Wolf, and everyone confuses him for it.
It seems to be happening more and more every day. Oh.
Yeah, so Nate's real name is like Scott Jones or something, right? That's the point. So we should just call you Scott Jones from now on.
You'll never know.
Because Nate Wolf is just your battle tag. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
No, it's Nate Tackle. Nate Tackle.
Oh God, you guys, it's great. Okay, all right. Do you guys have any more questions, or should we move on? We've got a pretty busy lineup for tonight with news and stuff, quite a bit.
We can move on.
Sure. Okay. Well, quickly before we get started, I do want to say a big thank you to our patrons. First off, Shokunin and Pug Ugly for being the executive producers of our show, kind of backing us financially. We really appreciate your help. And also a big thank you to our patrons, Adam W., Claudette G., and Daniel B. for being patrons of the show. We really appreciate your help and your support. If anyone out there is interested in supporting the show as well, we do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/borntobewildhs. If anyone out there is interested in supporting the show in a non-monetary fashion, there are a couple really easy things that you can do. If you go to our YouTube and hit subscribe, we're just a little bit shy of 1,000 subscribers, which is really exciting. Trying to get there, hopefully. If you can subscribe to the YouTube, that is really beneficial to us. If you click on a video and watch it like the whole way through, even if you walk away, that actually helps quite a bit. If you leave us a review on iTunes, that would be fantastic. Or you want to join our Discord server just to hang out with other members of the Wild community. It's been a really fun place to hang out. So anyways, and also something that we do every week, assuming that there is somebody, is to shout out first-time Wild Legend players. And we have someone this week that we met through Discord. This is for Hulk477. He said, "Hit Legend for the first time today. Thanks to Mike Lowe for the list. It's an Anyfin combo paladin that he got from Mike's stream. He said it's always been his favorite deck. He came in at Legend 1351. So congratulations, Hulk. That's
nice.
Cool.
Congratulations.
So I mean, there's something special that first time that you hit Legend. I was so much nerves for me. We were talking over the past week a little bit about the potential for reverting nerfs. I think it was Imic who had a post of all the nerfed cards, and if you could unnerf anything, what would it be? And I was thinking about, like, the first time I hit Legend was back right before they nerfed Call to Arms, playing that Egg Paladin, and that was a blast. Do you guys remember yours?
That nerf made me sad. It really did. Like, I know it made a lot of people happy, but I loved 4-mana Call to Arms.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
I loved that card.
I think that was back in 2018. It was around, I think it was April or May for me, something like that. Hyder, do you remember when you hit Legend for the first time?
I don't want to tell you guys what it was.
It's a pirate warrior or something.
It was, yeah.
Oh, that's not so bad. Yeah, that's not totally degenerate. Like
It's a fair deck. It's one of the fairest decks in Wild.
Well, it was standard at the
Right.
time.
like
Yeah.
2017, 2016, around there.
Yeah. And yes, I as Palmenaus said, some people have golden heroes and because they were just smashing the button. That's definitely how I got golden warriors. I played so much golden, so much pirate warrior anyways. And you know what? I was so reluctant to play it because I hated that I'm in charge, like popping out over and over and over again. And I was like, this card, man, like it ticked me off to like no end. And then one day I crafted it. Actually, the funny thing is I think I disenchanted it. I opened it from packs and I disenchanted it to build something else. And then I ended up crafting it. I spent way too much money on patches. I disenchanted that card. Then I crafted it. And then later on I crafted it in gold. So
Oh man,
shame on me, right?
that's why
Like,
you just
what-
craft it. When a good card's good, you craft it in gold, and you never have to mess with it. You don't. You just leave it. Just leave it.
I know. I remember trying to write in a ticket to Blizzard or whatever. I'm like, I've made a really big mistake. I spent way too much money on one card. Can I get like some help? I didn't get a response, of course, because it was stupid. It was just me being stupid. I just thought maybe they'd have some sympathy for what I had done all for this one card.
They helped you by removing the charge from patches.
Yeah, I know, right? Then they nerfed it. Jerks.
Yeah, here's your money. Yeah.
Removing the charge. Oh my god, that's such a double entendre. I love it. Wildcard. What did you hit legend with first? Was it It was Warlock, right?
It was. Yeah, you were there, but I lost my legend virginity.
Oh, boy.
He's a man after
yeah.
my own heart. Warlock,
Yeah, it
really?
was. It was your deck.
It was.
Palmenaus' deck. Yeah, it was his Q block because it had the
It had Ratcatcher. It had Ratcatcher, and it had the Sanguine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sanguine Revela.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and I got it from Nate. So look at it's all coming together. This is beautiful.
Perfect circle. I love it.
Hard
I love
hands,
it.
yeah. Yeah, I never had time to play, and COVID gave me the time to play the Legend. So and Nate was helping me my first time. He held my hand all the way through. It was nice.
It was a tender moment.
Yeah, I'm glad I can make my first Legend moment really awkward for everybody, though.
It was a good deck, though. I
it's
do like and I think that it hasn't really changed much. I mean, it's still good. Those cards are great. I think one of the things that people, since we're talking about Q Block for 2 seconds, one of the mistakes that people make, in my opinion, is they don't have a way to pop your own cube, and there's so many removal options available that I feel like it's so risky to cube something and just leave a cube on the board, because people will there's not as much silence running around, but there's things that will transform it. Kazakus is a thing. Zephyrs will turn it into a frog, and it's too risky. So being able to pop your cube, and then Ratcatcher gains stats and rush. It's just great. I remember when they nerfed was it Dark Pact?
Yeah.
It used to gain, I think it was 8 health, right? And now it's 4. Yeah, right. I was so sad when they
That seemed crazy looking back like that. You're like, oh yeah, that is a lot.
That is a lot. Well, then they nerfed Lackey, the God, what was it called?
I remember Demonic Lackey.
Yeah.
I think
to 6. What is it?
6 mana 2/2. 6 mana 2/2 card. I remember this. It used to summon a demon out of your deck when it died.
Right.
But it was so badly costed at that point. 6 mana 2/2 you play, and that doesn't do anything on that turn. I mean, after the nerf, it was dead.
It was dead. Sad. Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh well. Still a good deck. I think I guess one final question before we move on into talking about our weeks As somebody who specifically looking after one class, but started playing Wild relatively recently, do you think that? I guess my question is, how is the game for you? From a have you had to invest a lot of money, invest a lot of time, or how did you find it as a relatively new player trying to get older cards?
Um, well, it's a loaded question because I used to do daily quests. It used a lot of work for sure. I love playing the game, so I didn't mind working for it. But for someone who wants to get into standard, it's impossible, right? As a new player, but in while it is quite possible because you retain your collection, nothing rotates out, and most of all, you can buy now. Although you can buy wild sets in the store, but when I started out, it used to be about crafting cards. So I remember my first even log deck, which I copied from Ben from work. It used to cost something about 7,000 to 8,000 dust. So to get it, I had to play a lot of decks that I didn't like because I started out with a deck and I'm moving and working towards it eventually. So what I did was I played with decks that I didn't like, a cheap aggro deck, as people call it. So you farm up the wins, you farm up the levels, and Hearthstone used to reward you for every level that you gained because the climb from rank 50 to diamond, I think, was very fun. Back in the day, you used to get a lot of packs, a lot of rewards. It kept me very invested in playing to make me a better player. The first time I hit legend, I remember I was quite underwhelmed because uh, the rewards till rank 5 were far more better than hitting legend. And as a warlock main, I only had to worry about me versus the world kind of a concept where I do not care about what else is going on in the meta, just make my team stronger so that it can face off against the world. So as I started out, I think Hearthstone as wild is very affordable, but Hearthstone as standard, I am not sure how people keep up with that.
It's a really interesting
and it
perspective. I like that.
and it helps that I stick to one class because then I don't have to invest in other classes. But if I were to say diversify, if I were to branch out, I'm sure I wouldn't be able to have dexterity or affordability of reaching and making out so many decks, or even experimenting for that matter, because people like Hydralisk can have a huge collection. I don't. I just have a full complete Warlock collection. But if I were to branch out to even a single other class, I think it would be very difficult as a free to play player and without investing a whole amount of money.
Yeah, interesting. I like that take.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you mentioned it before, but did you say are you free to play or have you put money into this?
Well, I am kind of in the between because I started out as free to play and then I thought I want my Warlock card. So I just invested some amount of money to get what I needed.
Nice.
I think that's the only way to play the game. You invest some amount of money and then you bolster your collection. You do not go whale on people and start getting everything in golden. I mean, that's probably something what people do right in NA and EU. But I do not see the necessity of doing that because Hearthstone, back when I started out, used to be very rewarding to free to play players. And now I am reserving my comments because it has been already said. But now it's becoming a little harder for new players or free to play players to enter without investing at least a little amount of money.
Yeah, I agree. I will say, just regarding your comments, I think that you're right about the golden cards. It's probably not a good idea, especially if you play multiple classes. It gets very expensive. However, I do want to jump on one other thing that you said, where especially Warlock is a great example where there's a core set of cards that is played in just about every Warlock deck, whether it's Malygos or Control or Reno or Cube or whatever, where it's your like core set of cards.
Yeah.
Like if you were going to do it, you could probably craft those pretty safely and know that you're going to use them in just about everything. But I feel you.
100.
One of our good friends, Gold Daniel, that's what he mainly plays Warlock too. and I think those are the only cards that he has converted to gold. I could be wrong on that, but I know, I'd asked him, like, how can you have got all these like golden Warlock cards? How do you do it? He's like, well, those are the only cards that I'm interested in. So
Yeah,
that makes it easier.
for sure. All right. Well, each week we like to check in with each other, just see how we're doing, what's been going on. So we'd like just to touch base a little bit. Palmenus, what have you been up to this week in life, in Hearthstone, anything?
Well, it's been a busy week for me at work, but apart from that, at Hearthstone, I have done nothing but play 2 to 3 games a day. In fact, I play less than I think. I haven't even bothered to climb to Legend this season because I've been experimenting with my Cthulhu Warlock. And so far, I'm happy to report that it works against specific decks. And now, what I really want to talk about is that I love the quest revamp system that Hearthstone introduced very recently because there was a lot of complaints from the community, and it seems like they've heard, and that has gotten me excited to play again. Now that it is the weekend here, I want to hit that legend mark and then experiment around even more. Apart from that, I think it's been a very busy week and I haven't had any time at all to play Hearthstone for that matter. But the holidays are coming soon, so I hope that I put my hat on and get there.
Right on. That's pretty cool. How about you, Wildcard? What have you been up to this week?
A lot of Cyberpunk. Well, I mean, a little bit.
Ooh.
I actually had a game-breaking bug that crashed my game after the intro mission. So I was not too happy about that, but I had a friend help me out, and they actually had to reinstall an exe file, like the actual game file, like a different version of it, to get the darn thing to work. So I've actually been playing a little bit of that lately. And then Nate actually invited me to be on a THL team this week. So I think that starts up next week, the Wild THL team. So it's the first time I've ever done anything THL. I'm brand new to it. So I'm excited about that.
I'm sure you'll have fun.
Yeah.
How many hours do you think you are into Cyberpunk right now?
Only maybe 5. Not very long.
Yeah, I think
we just
similar to me.
Yeah, I just got.
Is it as buggy as they say?
You know what? When I've got it to work, when it didn't hard crash for me, it's played fine for me. But I've heard so many varied stories of like people with no bugs, people with some bugs, people like me that just the game didn't work for them. And then there's the whole console issue where, if you're on PS4, Xbox One, the game plays like crap because, they made it for future gen, not for past gen.
Yeah. I only had a bug for the first day or so, just a visual bug. And then as soon as I downloaded the proper driver from NVIDIA, it's smooth sailing. So I haven't seen much as for bugs, but like I said, I'm not very far into the game around where Wildcard is, 3 to 5 hours, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Not a lot. But I don't know, it's running fine. So can't complain myself, but I do feel bad for everybody that's on console that wanted to play it and can't.
Yeah. I debated console versus PC for a while, and I was like, no, because there's gonna be some funky mods and stuff, and I'm gonna want to mess with that to somewhere down the line. So I want to do PC.
Well, yeah, and so you can also just like use a controller if you're super stoked on controllers. That's what I've been doing. So, I found driving was a little hard with the keyboard and mouse.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, whoop.
Yeah.
Like how many beers have I had? Yeah.
So,
but other than that, there's only a couple other things. I got ranked 50 this week in the achievement list.
Sick.
And,
who did you pick?
So I picked Rogue. Duh. we got 2, and I haven't got my 1,000 Rogue unlocked yet. So yeah, definitely Rogue. And then of course last week I got Legend. So last Friday I think it was. That's been it.
You played Big Priest, you degenerate.
I got to show the kids how it's done. Right. You pick on me because I play my you're gonna emote to me because I'm playing some off meta deck. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play your deck and we'll see what happens. 18-2.
I actually
High skill.
I actually like your list because it's significantly different than the other ones running around. I know we were giving you a hard time because you cut palm reading.
I forgot about it completely, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of a wasted turn. Whatever. So.
That is like a Ben from work level hot take. I think.
No, because it's. I think I explained it in the Discord too, because it's just like, and again, this is just generally how I design my decks. It's like I'm a control player. I want to remove for a certain amount of for a period of time, and then I want to do my big stuff. And I want that card slot for a removal piece rather than make my thing cheaper and get my stuff out earlier. Yeah,
I feel you.
I guess it works either way. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I won't say that I agree with you. We're giving Ben a hard time, but he's one of our favorite people. Okay, I think I love this chat here. All of the Ben hot takes. N'Zoth is a bad card. Cut ice block. What was the other ones?
We love you, Ben.
Oh, Bran is a bad card. Let's see. Ben is one of the best Hearthstone players, like probably in the world. So I give him a lot of credit. We should do a weekly Ben from work hot take. That's pretty funny.
That's great. Well, how about you, Nate? How's your week been going?
It's been going well. It has been a very busy week at work, but I wrapped things up this afternoon and I'm taking off a little over a week. So I've got like the next 10 days off. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. It's fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that. I've been exhausted lately and just with kind of prepping for the holidays and a lot of stuff. I'm working on a lot of different things. I think at work, people ask me what I do for work, and it's basically a 50% project management and 50% politics, and it's just been a very busy time for all of that stuff. And so I'm looking forward to some time off. I hit level 46 in the battle pass. So I got the new Thrall portrait where I guess he's riding a wolf, but I swear it looks like Battle Cat from Masters of the Universe. A while back, Steam was having a sale on all of the Batman games for like $5 each. So I went and bought them all, even though I played them on the PlayStation a long time ago. And I beat Arkham Asylum over the past week, and there was a couple things that I hadn't completed, like the challenge missions and stuff, and I thought, I've done it before. So I moved on to Arkham City, and that's cool. I agree with you, Hydra. For those people out there who play PC games, this guy right here is like $15 best investment of the lifetime Xbox controller that plugs in via USB.
Yeah,
it makes playing games on the PC so much better. I could not play with a keyboard and a mouse. I can't even imagine how people do it. So that's been good. And then like Wildcard was saying, our buddy Doc McButt reached out. He goes, "Hey, I'm looking for wild THL players. I thought the teams were 3, and it turns out that they're 5. Do you know anybody?" I was like, "I do happen to know somebody. What about me?" And what about Wildcard and I had just been playing that night, doing his off meta corner that we've been doing every week, and I said, "Yeah, no, I have someone else as well. How about just the two of us?" He's like, "That's perfect." And so we are going to be starting up next week. The team that we're on is called the Ghost of Fell Screams Past. That's pretty funny, but it had a Warlock theme. How can you say no to that? So. And then, Wildcard and I have been doing a once a week video series for YouTube called Wildcard's Off Meta Corner. That's been a lot of fun and playing different stuff each week. we got such a pleasant YouTube comment today that just said boring. And I'm like, thank you. That was so constructive.
How? Yeah, like it's fine. You were bored by it. Maybe I'm a little sleepy that night, but let me know that. Don't say just boring.
We tend to
Still
play.
counts as engagement, by the way, even if it's a bad comment.
That's right.
Still counts.
True.
But it's a lot of fun, and I think that it has put me out of my comfort zone a little bit because I tend to play meta decks only, and so it's been a blast to try other things. And so this past week we went achievement hunting with Tonk Hunter, and that was a blast. Literally, got to face Concerned Mom a couple times on stream, and lost the first time, but we won in the rematch, so that was good.
That's right.
And we
Is he still playing Big Priest?
He was playing that Anyfin Paladin, and so
Degenerate.
it is degenerate. The first time we got him down to about 10 health and lost, and I faced him again in like 3 or 4 matches. We ran into him a second time, and we won that time, and it was felt very vindicated. It was good. The other thing I've been doing all week, I've been playing Battlegrounds almost every night with Smork. He's got a Discord. He's a high level legend wild player, and he's off in New Zealand. And almost every night we've jumped on. I just happen to be on at the same time, and it's the mid-afternoon for them while it's like the middle of the night for me. But we just happen to be on at the same time, and so we'll jump into Battlegrounds lobby, and it's still weird for me. I'm either getting first place or like 7th place, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it wrong, and sometimes it works. So it's
First place doesn't sound like you're doing it wrong though. If you're getting first place, the highest I've ever gotten is like 4th.
I think that sometimes what I struggle with is, when do you level up? When do you take minions? Do you force the minion synergy, or do you just take what has the best stats, or like, and where do you make that switch as switching over to the correct tribe versus when you keep your board stat based, or at what point is the right time to like level up? And I don't really have a good answer for that. I don't think that I need to watch some videos from Jack or somebody who plays more. I will say it's a lot of fun, and I think Battleground specifically, there was a question here in chat. What do you think about Battlegrounds as a regular WoW player? It's all free, right? There's no investment needed. I guess if you've put money into the game, at the hero selection, you have more choices. You can select from 4 instead of 3 or something like that. But it hasn't made an impact, I don't think. But it's fun. I like it because when I play ranked, I'm more concerned about my my rank and if I'm going to win or lose or whatever. Like, I really want to focus. And if I just want to kind of zone out and have fun, I can put a movie on in the background. A lot of times I'll play on the iPad, and I'll do like a picture-in-picture with Netflix in the corner and then playing some Battlegrounds. And if I lose, then I don't care. I'm just having fun. So
I'm just saying you can do the same with the Big Priest and still it works.
I did that with a standard version recently. Guilty.
That's so true.
Shout out to Wildcard.
This is we only make fun of you because we like you. Okay, don't worry about it. Anyways, that's my week. It's been a sort of eventful, uneventful, but I'm looking forward to some time off, so that'll be good. Hydra, what about you? What have you been up to?
Well, along the same lines as you, I did jump into Battlegrounds a bit. I think we were on at the same time for one of the nights there. Played for a little while. I believe Labore was also in our lobby.
We've done, Labore, Blue Train, Smork, Foxy Ducky. It's been a handful of people lately. I'll jump into voice chat and play. And that is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, when we're all in voice chat, it's pretty funny. And I put a disclaimer right at the beginning saying I don't know what I'm doing, and then everybody like called bullcrap on me because I somehow stomped like the first round. But it was an accident. I really didn't know what I was doing. So I was just going for stats, like a big pile of stats, and it seemed to work. And then after that, I don't know. That was just getting mediocre. So I don't really know what I'm doing. either. I've been bouncing around on the ladder, basically just completing a lot of quests on the servers, making sure that I get everything done. The weekly, that's the one thing I'm glad that they have reduced. We'll talk about later that they've finally put some things into play here, but reducing like the amount of games you need to win has definitely, like for the weekly quest, that's helped me.
Yeah.
Except for it was glitched, actually. I was at 5 out of 7. I think it was on EU. I was at 5 out of 7 win 5 ranked ladder games. And then it changed to the win 5. And it just switched to 5 out of 5. And it was on the screen saying 5 out of 5, but I'm not complete. Which seemed really weird. You'd think it would just auto-complete. So I just had to play another game. And I guess I had to do 6 out of 5. But
For someone who plays very less, a person like me, I think the quest changes, as you said, are very handy. You don't
Yeah.
have to play as many games, and you don't have to invest in arena, battlegrounds, or whatever. You just can play constructed and get your quests completed.
Yeah, no, it's good. And so for like an EU on the rewards track, I'm right around 40. Not EU, NA around 40. EU, I think 35, and then 30 on Asia. It's kind of a lot. I'm finding it's quite difficult to keep up doing all three now that we have the rewards track. But I don't know. We'll see. This is the experimental first. 4 months, first expansion of it. I want to see if it's possible. And I'm not somebody who, I got a full-time job, I got a family. I don't play this game constantly. Usually, like in the evening, depending on where my son is, if he's off at his mom's house, I'll put some more time in. But if he's here, I'm not really playing much. But I would like to see if it's possible with the amount that I do play. And if it's not, it's not. There was part of me, it was yesterday, who I was thinking, if I don't quite make it, like if I'm super close, like say I got like 10 levels, 5 levels left at the end, I could just, purchase the perks and it'll put me over the edge. But that was really bad to think. Like I shouldn't be putting money into the other servers because that would be bad. But it would work. It would, like, because they've put it extra XP, right? So say I only make it to 45 or whatever, it'd probably throw me over, but I don't know if it's worth the $20 just to say you made it.
Blizzard thinks it is.
Yeah, so I don't know. But other than that, I'm playing Cyberpunk, just like wild card there. And yeah, if you don't have the Xbox controller, you can also use a PlayStation controller. But you just need to download a little mod thing to make your computer think that it's an Xbox controller. But it does work.
Or a Steam controller, right? Do you remember those? Do people remember the Steam controller?
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yep, I own that thing. It's behind me somewhere.
Oh, is it? But yeah, the PlayStation controller will work if you don't have an Xbox one. But it's a lot easier just to have the Xbox controller. Makes things way easier. You don't need to lie to your computer. For like real life, been a really long week. I had to work on Sunday. So when Monday came around, I actually was very confused and thought it was Tuesday, which made the week so much longer. And today was insane. My boss actually wanted me to work late tonight. And he doesn't know that I'm on a podcast. So I wasn't going to be like, no, sorry, boss. I got the podcast to do. So I was just like, no, I got to go home. Got a family, man.
It's us.
Exactly. My wild Hearthstone family.
I'll take it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I'm just so stoked it's finally the weekend and that I didn't have to work late tonight. So that makes me happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for my week. Does anybody else have anything to add that they forgot about in their weeks or anything?
Oh, I do want to bring up one thing because we've got the holidays right around the corner. I know not everybody celebrates them, but if you're looking for something to put on your wish list, we have these. I never do this, so please forgive me. But we have these beautiful T-shirts in the shop. See, look, I'm wearing one right now. Oh, look at that.
Oh, snap. Don't forget about these toques.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I call them toques.
And
Slash beanie.
the beautiful thing is you can get them in all, like, there's like an endless variety of colors that you can get on the shirts and the logos and the stuff, which is very cool. So if you have holiday money burning a hole in your pocket, you can go buy one for yourself. I believe they're still on sale, right? If they use the code.
Yeah, you can still use the code.
If you use the code BTBW for Born to Be Wild, you get 10% off in the store. So I had to do a little shameless plug there. I apologize, but it had to be done.
Had to be done. All right, is everybody good to jump into the news?
Yeah, we got quite a bit this week. I'm interested to hear all of your hot takes on some of this stuff, so that'll be fun. Some weeks we have no news, and this week we have quite a bit. So one thing before we talk about the news, one thing that didn't make it like news-wise, but I think is newsworthy, is we have a tournament coming up hosted by our own Mike Lowe, with a custom tournament with custom card rules, sponsored by none other than Shokunin, the executive producer of our show, and I believe Ben from work contributed to the prize pool as well, which is super cool. I'm not quite sure who else, but that's super cool. So there's a $250 prize pool. There's some custom rules for this tournament. I think there's a limit of 2 legendary cards, 2 epics, and the rest are can be made up of everything else. If you're interested, if you go to our Discord and look on the tournament page, all the information is there, or you go to Mike's Twitter, which is at MikeLowTV. You can get the link to it. It should be a lot of fun. For those people who are listening to the audio version of this and you're not familiar with Discord, it's essentially kind of an alternative social media. It's like a big hangout with different channels in it, different kind of categories, and a bunch of people hanging out like a I don't know, like a chat room type of thing. The easiest way to get there is by going to our website, which is borntobewildhs.com. If you click on the Find Us button, there's a link to the Discord and you can join. But anyway, so this is going to be a Conquest style, bring 4 decks, ban 1, and you've got to win with each class. This is happening Saturday, January the 2nd of 2021, and it should be a blast. So if I'm interested, I don't think I'm going to play myself. I might. I'm still considering, but I'm definitely interested in checking it out. So I hope that people ask a lot of times for tournaments, and so I'm excited that we're going to see one. If anybody's interested, I definitely recommend joining. It should be a fun time. So props to Mike.
Just remember to ban aggro druid for the tournament. It's going to be all the way.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's not a bad choice, I think, actually. It's a lot of times it's funny, but a lot of times the decks that seem to do really well in the tournament settings are the super aggressive decks. You know, everyone wants to get cute with their deck list, but if you just go face, a lot of times you can punish the greedy decks. So all right. Let me pass it back to you, Hydra, and we can cover the news for this week.
Yeah, for sure. So we definitely had the Worlds happen this past weekend, and we'd like to say congratulations to the new world champion, Glory. It obviously was a standard tournament. I personally didn't watch it. Did you guys watch this at all?
I did.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, again, the decks, I don't even know what top level standard decks are. So this is sort of my introduction to a lot of them. But it seemed like just looking at it objectively, it seemed like Yarla just kind of drew poorly. Like a lot of his decks were based on combos, and he just never got his combos clicking. And I think that's kind of why he lost the championship.
Should have picked Warlock now if he wanted to draw better.
Yep.
Hot takes.
That's awesome.
I like it.
I watched it both days. I will say the first day I slept through most of it. Like I was on the couch watching, I totally passed out. It was kind of boring. But the second day, specifically the final couple matches, against was it Yarla and Glory were actually pretty good. And I just remember the final match being a Demon Hunter versus Demon Hunter showdown where it went to fatigue, and that was actually pretty interesting. And the decks, I thought the decks were boring, but to see that much like the high level play where the decisions make so much impact.
Who can play the boring deck the best? Right?
Yeah.
Control Warrior Mirror sort of style.
Yeah. Mike was really excited because he voted for Glory, so he gets all of the packs. All of the packs.
Nice.
All of the glory, yeah.
I think he made a point as well that I thought was good about, or maybe it was not Mike, maybe it was somebody else, I don't recall, but someone was saying, whoever wins Worlds each year gets a tribute card made after them, and it's a lot easier to make a card after Glory than it would be to make a card after Yarla or some of the other names. Mm-hmm. So I can call it Battle Glory, I can call it whatever, it's going to be a Paladin card.
Oh yeah. Yeah, easy. Like, what do you do for, well, I guess they would probably do Luna instead of Bloody Face, but Bloody Face, we've already taken blood off of the cards, right? Yeah. So it'd have to be Luna. Make it Luna, a cat.
It'd be we could do a druid card. It sounds very druid. Ace Hunter Kreen was a very nice tribute for Hunter Ace.
Card. Yeah.
PalmenausPlastik, you did not watch it?
No, absolutely not.
I don't think you really missed anything.
I used to watch them. I mean, I did watch, I believe it was last year's, the final day with Lyoun. Because that was like a big moment in esports and Hearthstone history where we had a female at the finals, and I did get invested in that, and I was rooting for her.
Good,
but I didn't watch this time around. So
plus, I think they lost subscribers because they moved to YouTube instead of streaming.
That was a big thing. A lot of loss in numbers there for sure.
I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot to include it in the notes, but I remember seeing that they dropped from, I don't know, was it from the millions down to like 14. I don't know. They're in the millions down to like 14,000 or something.
264,000 down to 14,000. That's for just the championship. But I guess they've had this issue since they went in the like in spring, I think is when they converted over to YouTube, and it's been the issue the whole way through, and it didn't change for the championship.
Yeah, that hurts. I don't.
The 95% drop. So
yeah. Well, and then you've seen all week. I think it was Ben Hearthstone posting all these different people leaving Blizzard, and they're all from like the esports team, and so it makes me wonder: did they quit? Are they getting laid off? I mean, it doesn't. Are we seeing an end to more of the Hearthstone esports stuff? Because how, as a company, like how do you continue to support these like large cash payouts and all the production and stuff when nobody's watching? It just feels bad.
And I find it, like, when I go on Twitch and I know there's a Hearthstone tournament happening, it's just at the top because it has the most views that's happening, and it says play Hearthstone. And I just click on it because it's at the very top of my list. I go on YouTube, I literally have to type in Hearthstone to find it, to see what's going on. Like, it's not presented to me the way it is on Twitch. Like, it's just there for me if I go on Twitch and there's a tournament happening. I don't have to look for it.
Yeah, it's hard to search as well on YouTube. There's no easy way to search streams.
I think the best way is it comes up in your subscriptions. If you subscribe to them, it'll be live, and it'll probably be the first one because it's live. That's probably the easiest way to find it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I must have subscribed, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I find it's not very viewer friendly to easily find it. And I'm still not in the mindset of going on YouTube to watch a live stream. Like, if I'm looking to watch Hearthstone, I go on Twitch, right? I don't think to go on.
People miss the chat.
Yeah. So personally, I know they made a deal with Google, YouTube, but I mean, Twitch is where it's at. It would seem, obviously, the numbers speak for themselves.
It's time. Yeah, it's time for the Hearthstone lawyers to jump in and say our numbers are horrendous. Let's get out of this. I mean, I haven't. Obviously it's a contractual issue, but it's something that's not working out particularly well for them. So.
But does it even matter? I mean, like, is it a moneymaker for them? It probably isn't. It's probably just a flagship, right? Like, here's our championship. Do they really make any revenue from it?
Not when you compare it to things like Overwatch. So, whatever.
I mean, the only thing I could say is there is a weird psyche thing going on. When I go on Twitch and I look at what's the top most viewed games like currently, and I see that Hearthstone's like in the top 10, I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, Hearthstone's doing really good. But if it drops down to like number 20 or something, you kind of feel like your game is dying kind of thing, right? So numbers can mess with your head a little bit, right?
Well,
Like
and then you've got people like Jack, the master of clickbait, that makes videos that say like Wild Hearthstone is dead and Blizzard killed it. It's like, whoa, okay. Be careful. Anyways, all right, what do we got next?
we have the launch of the reward track update that came in on Tuesday. So everybody should have gotten their 5 Dark Moon Fair packs and their 500 gold. And actually, even later, I think it was yesterday, I ended up getting that extra 100 gold for rank 27 and 30. They decided they're going to give 50 extra for each. That popped in for me yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah, that was very random. I was not expecting it, and mine came in 2 bags of 50.
Yeah, 2 bags of 50.
It's like,
yeah, because they were pack rewards, I think, right? Is that why they changed it? 27 and 30 are packs, right?
They were packs. They didn't change it. They just added. So you still get the
to it,
packs, and then the 50 on each. And you know what? I forgot that was happening, and I was scrolling through my rewards track, and I actually thought that the visuals were glitched because they kind of like sit on top of each other a little bit. Like the gold is like either over the pack, or the pack is slightly over the gold. That's neither here nor there, but I was a little confused. But anyway, so that happened, and then if you were already into the 40s, you got a larger XP bump than anybody else. You'll still reap the benefits once you get to the rank 40 and up. But basically what's happened is each rank caps out at only needing 5,000 experience. And so at that point, you're needing 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 experience per level, something like that. So if you'd already gone through those levels, you would have seen an exponential bump. So I know that a lot of people in the community, somebody, was it Schmoopy or who in the Discord said they went from 47 to 57? Do you guys recall that? Yeah.
yeah, it was Schmoopy. Yeah.
It was Schmoopy. Yeah, 10 levels. So for me, I'm like right around the 40, so I didn't get that. I'm already at kind of just, it was, I think 5,300 or 5,500 was kind of what I was needing for the next level at that point. So I saw a very small bump. I think I went up maybe one rank.
I jumped almost 3. I went from the high third. I went from like, actually, I think I'd already hit level 40, so I think I went from like 41 to 44 or something like that. I mean, it's pretty significant. It was almost 3. It was almost 3 levels. It was just under, but almost 3. Like, hey, that's cool.
Yeah, I remember feeling jealous at first, but everybody's gonna get the same treatment anyways. Once you get to that point, you just have to earn less experience. So it's even across the board, regardless of where you were. It just, I guess, seems cooler when you're already there and you get this massive boost.
But it shows that they're listening. I think that is very important to remark upon. We thought that Blizzard doesn't listen to its player base, but that turns out to be wrong.
Yeah. PalmenausPlastik, where are you at right now on the rewards track?
I think I'm at 36 because I play very little. And And but now that the holidays are coming, I'm very excited because it looks like best rewards are yet to be unlocked. Right, the later levels are quite enticing, to say the least.
Yeah, there's a lot of gold. There's some stuff to get there. Did you end up buying the boost?
Nope, nope.
No.
Didn't think, no.
So no, 36 is good for not having it, because I know, because I did purchase it on NA, but for my EU and Asia account, I'm not using it all, and I can definitely feel the difference for sure. So no, 36 is still really good for not having it.
Because I love doing the quests. The quests are really good. I mean, it isn't like play 16 Warlocks, which is impossible for me to complete, right? It's great because it asks you to draw 300 cards, for example, or it asks you to deal some amount of fixed damage to the opponent, which you will do anyway. Play battle cry cards. I like doing that, and the quest progresses on its own. I don't even look at it, and it does its job in the background. I think that's a good way to do a quest system.
Another one too is, since you're playing mainly one class, if it you know how you can get the quest where it says play 3 games with these certain classes, and you might not have any of those, but you can always re-roll it, right?
Correct. And if sometimes it happens that you re-roll it and it asks you to play 3 other classes, which I don't have, then I find a willing partner who's willing to trade their decks with me, and then I just play.
Oh, there you go. I hadn't thought about that.
Wait, does that work in friendly battles?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, wow.
That's how I finish my quests. Kutulun over there in chat has been instrumental.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know you could do that in a friendly battle.
I think it's been confusing, this new system, because with the achievement hunting, you can't do them in casual or friendlies. You have to do them ranked.
Yeah.
So
the chest ones, though. But the regular ones, I think you can't. Is that what it is?
I don't know. The whole thing is confusing.
Yeah, the ones that are for actual gold, I think you have to compete on ladder.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You can do any quests with anyone. It's just that for achievements, you have to do it in ranked, but for everything else, you can complete it with a friend.
Interesting.
So,
you've opened up some. Sorry, I was just gonna say, you've opened up some ideas in my head now as to how to complete some of the ones on my other accounts that I have.
What's the point of having a friend list, right? That is the reason for existing.
I like it.
All right, sorry, Nate, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I assume that when you hit to 50, you're gonna choose the Warlock portrait.
You assume, right?
I'm still. I was just gonna say I'm still a little bit undecided. I'm leaning towards the Warlock, but I don't know.
Have any of you chosen yet? Have you unlocked the rank 50 in any of the accounts?
Not me.
No, I haven't unlocked it on any of them yet. I'm slow and steady trying to get them all. NA is definitely ahead of the rest, but
when are you going to choose Hydra?
But let me just go ahead and assume that you're all going to choose Warlock, correct?
I already made it, and I chose Rogue. I chose poorly.
I don't know.
I'm
still undecided because of the fact that you have to wait 4 months till you can get the next one.
I know, it kind of hurts. And, you know, as bad as I feel, like I've hit Legend the last 2 months playing Reno Priest because it's just so good. Like I was playing fun decks and I kept losing. And I switched to that, and I just like went on these crazy win streaks, and like Anduin, the portrait, he's just such a I don't know, it's just the BM portrait for the BM class. Like, I really shouldn't do it. I love the Warlock one, actually. It's very nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see myself ever picking the priest one until the end. Probably. That's probably the last one I'm going to pick.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, it's probably not a bad decision. Yeah. All right, what else we got? So we got a login bonus. I think I can't tell whether this is Blizzard giving this to us as part of the Winter Veil event, or if this is them feeling bad about everything with the rewards track and giving it to us as because it says thank you for being part of this community. and that's 5 packs and 500 gold.
It's a sorry. It's totally a sorry.
I think I tend to think that you're right.
It's not.
It's winter veiled, believe me.
It's gotta be a sorry.
I think
You know what would have been funny is if they had if they put out a graphic for it when it was announced and they actually had the sorry emote.
Oh my god, that'd be so good.
I'm gonna check back on chat, and once they don't release the winter veil, then you'll eat your words. It's probably not a sorry. It's probably the winter veil, in my opinion.
I agree with him. Yep.
They were doing Winter Veil legendary quests. There's 2 of them where you can get 2 packs each, and so I don't know if this one is separate or not because the little scroll that pops up, it said thank you for being part of this community, and so I don't know. I mean, I don't think that they'll admit to it being like a sorry, but I think that that's kind of the spirit of it.
And so we do have those new quests, right? The legendary quests that came with this. One of them is, I believe, just play 3 games, and isn't the other play 3 in standard?
It is. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but it works if you just queue into standard and concede.
It did. Oh, I was wondering if you had to play like at least 8 turns or something like that.
Nope.
But you still have to make a standard deck. That's the whole hassle of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Just click all the Murlocs.
I just played.
You did the Murloc quest too at the same time. Easy. 2 birds with 1 stone.
Well, hey, free stuff is always good. And then it looks like we got a hot fix that came in as well that fixed a lot of issues, and I don't know that they even addressed all of them. I noticed that my Samsung card back magically returned to its place in my collection.
It did.
It did.
Nice.
But there's a bunch of other things. I think early on there was a bug where if you played a corrupted minion and then it died, it wouldn't leave the board. Like you couldn't do anything with it, but it was like taking a spot. And I had one point where I played the clowns in a druid deck, and I had 9 minions on the board at one time. It was a little absurd. It was really confusing to play around because you could see them, but you couldn't interact with them, and then trying to figure out. I'm sitting here playing on my cell phone, like what's dead and what's not dead when I'm only half paying attention. I'm doing the daily quest games, and
do both of you see it? Does your opponent see it the same way you do?
Yeah, but you can't target it. So,
that's so weird.
It was a visual bug. So it looks like there's a whole bunch of them. They changed the minimum spec requirement for mobile devices, so that it doesn't take up so much space anymore. They changed some animation issues. A lot of little bug issues, it looks like. Some that cause disconnects. Speaking of disconnects, packs are out now for World, so if you launch a client right now, you get your pack.
I got 3.
I opened it up on my phone and immediately it disconnected me. The pack opened up and then the app crashed. It's great.
Did you choose for your champions?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
What's it?
Who did you choose for your champions?
I personally chose Monsanto, and I got 3 packs for Monsanto.
Nice. Yeah, I chose Bloody Face. I just got the 1.
Yeah, same for me. Bloody Face.
How about you?
Bloody Face. I thought he'd
Bloody
win.
Face.
She'd win.
Ah, well.
I was gonna snap pick Bloody Face at the beginning because Bloody Face almost got it last year, and then I saw a Canadian flag up there, and I was like, oh. Monsanto's here. Okay, we're going Monsanto. And then Bloody Face made her announcement, and I thought maybe, like, obviously I didn't know. I would have loved to support Bloody Face at that point in time after her announcement was made, but I had already made my decision. And Monsanto's a great player. Monsanto got me 3 packs, so go Monsanto, go Canada, and shout out to Bloody Face / Luna also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah. So also we have, if you don't have them yet, the Winter Veil Wreath card back is available in the store. How much gold is it? Does anybody know how much? 500? So yeah, if you don't have that and that's something that you would like to attain, you can get that. I have that. I think 2017 is when it originally came out.
Yeah, they've been bringing it back every year too.
Have they doing? Are they have it done it every year?
Every year for Winter Veil it comes back. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. So that's back, and then we also have the treat card back for the Tavern Brawl. So if you don't have that already, you can get the Wintervale treat card back, and if not, you can just have your regular pack like you get all the time, anyways.
Oh, do you get it? You get it instead of a pack?
I don't know if instead or on top. I don't know because I already have it.
Yeah, me too. I don't know.
So
you guys know?
Anybody in chat,
No, I have it already.
Oh, instead of. Okay.
Oh, it is instead of, hey.
It's of course it's Blizzard. That's mean.
Thanks, Imic. That's hilarious. 2015 to 2017, Imic was saying is when it was available.
Okay.
The original.
I did
Wintervale.
see something. It's not here at all, but I think it was in the background. You know, they've been bringing back previously, I guess, older card backs lately that you could buy, and someone was saying that the one that looks like a lightning bolt is coming back for sale pretty soon. If you guys don't have that one, I unlocked it a long time ago, so I don't know. But
what was that one for?
It was just a monthly. It was just a monthly.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like we've got a couple Book of Heroes coming up as well.
Yeah, well, we have it's the Garrosh one is out. I know that we have. I believe it's the Paladin one is going to be coming next.
Yeah, have you guys played the Garrosh one yet?
Yeah, a little bit.
I heard that the second match is actually like getting a lot of people frustrated. Like it's a lot of people are losing to that one. I haven't tried it yet.
You gotta fatigue them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's like they put I think it's totems on the board, but the totems don't have any attack damage, but they do bloodlust or something. Not that I'm spoiling anything. I don't know, but yeah, I found that like it was impossible to try to keep up with them, so I just stopped playing minions, and I was just like, let's let this guy fatigue itself out, and it did. So, Pro tip.
I was right in the middle of. So with this achievement system, it didn't track for whatever reason. I had completed both of the old ones, the Rexar and the Jaina, and then the achievements. It was saying it was not showing that I completed them. It was showing them as incomplete, and so I was like, well, I guess I'll go back and do them. So I was like right in the middle of the Jaina one when Garrosh came out. And I wanted to play the Garrosh, but I'm like right in the middle of Jaina, and it won't let me stop. It's
yeah, I had the same problem. Yeah,
it's so frustrating. I just want to like concede and start over, but I guess I also want the achievement. Not that
I don't know why it doesn't register. I've got the same thing. I don't know if everybody has that, but it says I haven't done the Rexar or Jaina one, and I've done them on 3 different servers, both of them.
I guess you're about to do them again.
Yeah, you just haven't done them since the achievements have come out. It's like
is that why
I hadn't made Wild Legend. I was like, what? But I hadn't done it since the.
Yeah, I know. Mine says the same thing.
Yeah, but mine backdated. Although I was already legend when the achievement system came out. And so I guess it just gave it to me because I was currently sitting at it.
Oh, because you currently were.
But there's 2 different achievements for hitting legend. I can't remember what they're under, but like one gives you your original date, and then there's another one that like do it basically. Hit this point in standard and in wild and battlegrounds. And
yeah, mine's busted. It thinks that I did it. It thinks that I got legend in standard. I unlocked the achievement for it, and I've never done it.
Cheater.
I've done it in wild many times now, but never in standard. But it has that one. I don't know. It says that I did it. So.
Devs are listening. Don't take it away.
No, I don't want to do it. All I have to do is hit Diamond 5, but the legend one is cleared already. So.
What would be funny is if you reach Diamond 5 now in standard and you get that one, and then they take away the legend one.
They probably would.
Wait a minute, yeah.
How could he have this one but not that one?
PalmenausPlastik, did you play Garrosh yet?
No, I plan to. It looks fun. Not got the time, but again, I really plan to. They're doing so much. They're putting so much work on creating these things. I think it will be a crime not to try it out at least once.
Well, hey, if you complete it, you get a pack of warrior cards that you can
5.
dust
Oh, no,
that
sorry,
you can
that's the-
dust to
that's
get
the
warlock cards.
That you can dust, yeah. That you can dust again.
He does.
I'm very underwhelmed with the hero skin. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know. That's the one that comes with the 5 packs I was just about to talk about. You can purchase if you would like, depending on your country. I believe it's $10 American to get the new skin, and it comes with the skin, and you get 5 warrior packs.
No, I'm just saying, Garrosh has always been. No one expected him to look like something good. But I think it's fine.
I do like the 1000 win portrait for warrior, where he's corrupted with Cthulhu. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then you'd have to win 1,000 games with Warrior. Sure.
That's painful. Yeah, I know. I'm about 100 games off, I think, and I'm just avoiding doing it. Those were long games. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still run into the odd person playing Pirate Warrior. You could just do that. You could go 50-50 for like, a couple days straight. Just do it. Hey, you got 10 days off. Right?
Pirate Warrior is still good.
Rich playing Pirate Warrior.
Just do it.
Hey,
But I think there's a version of Warrior which is really good. Doing very well against the Reno decks, the Wrench Caliber Warrior,
Yep.
where it's running
bomb.
Galacron. Really good.
Memnarch and Corbett, I think, they have very good luck with it's a Galacron warrior, sort of a menagerie build now, and it's running the Wrench Calibers to mess with the Reno decks, and it's pretty good actually. It's very good. We also have, like Hydra was saying, the Book of Heroes Paladin. Uther is coming up. It's released on January 5th. And
that's coming pretty soon. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's in a couple weeks. Yeah, right around the corner. It is. Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, like Palmenaus was saying, they've really put in a lot of energy and effort into these. Like, you can tell.
Yeah.
And so you got to at least play through them. It's I like the lore. I think it is a little bit difficult to get the full story by playing them, but it's entertaining, and just the fact that they're giving them away for free has been pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, the team has so much free stuff now. It's kind of crazy. I mean, like, I know there's a lot of fuss about the achievement system, but I mean, you got to look at the whole picture too, and the periphery that we are getting that is for free that we never got, in past years, in the early years when we just had, arena and ladder,
But I think people have had to work for it. They have had to actually make a hue and cry about it for it to work. So we cannot discount the protests that happened as well. I mean, we might not have reached here if it weren't for that.
Sure.
I agree. Well, and back in the day, then when they released the original skins, it was $10 just for a portrait and a card back and nothing else. And then now we're getting all this content for free.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I've seen. Reading the comments is some of the worst things you can do. Like, I was on some social media site and I was looking at the comments on the new little adventure thing we have here, and there's just so many people being upset and angry, and it's like, it's a free thing you can do, right? Like, you don't have to do it. There's one pack at the end of it. It's not like you need to do it. It's not like anything really hinges on it. Like, do it or don't do it. I don't know why you got to get angry when they're giving you, just something to do for fun. And if you like the story, like, that's a thing is, if you never played World of Warcraft or Warcraft at all, you can play through these. They're not extremely difficult. Sometimes, obviously, this one's been a little difficult for some people, but it gives you a background on all these characters, and it's probably also a little fun for people that have played WoW because they already know the story and they want to see how they're going to tell it in the Hearthstone universe. So I don't know. To me, it's win-win. It's just something that you can do. I actually played through the whole thing last night and beat it, but it wasn't as easy as the other ones. I was stumbled a few times and had to repeat it. And I mean, I got through it. It was good. I'm going to have to get through it 2 more times.
Did you get anything from your pack?
No.
I was going to say I got 40 dust.
At least got that, yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't crack anything. I mean, whatever it was going to give me, I probably had anyway.
Yeah.
But I was just doing it for the experience, right? It's a cool little thing. It can get your mind off the ladder. It's just content that you can soak in if you want to, and if you don't want to, leave it alone.
There is potential. So Imic in chat is saying, don't open your packs yet. Wait until they release the mini set, and then you open them. It'll be cards from that. I think people will give the same advice as far as the weekly classic packs that you get from the Tavern Brawl. Is, hey, they keep talking about doing a classic set rework. If you've got the cards, just sit on them until they do the revamp, and then open them, and so that you're guaranteed, because the no duplicate rule, that you're guaranteed to get whatever you're missing. So, we'll see. I'm not quite sure what to expect, but it's not bad advice.
I've never personally seen the no duplicate rule to work, because it always seems to give me duplicates. I dust duplicates every day. Does it work for you guys?
It's for legendaries and epics only, I think, right?
Oh. Okay.
No, I don't know. I mean, there's something about it where I don't think you're supposed to get duplicates until you've opened them at least once. Like if you've opened all of the cards. But we open the commons and the rares so frequently that you might either already have them, or you might have opened them all at one point, in which case you'll start opening duplicates.
Sure, where dusting comes in there. Like if you've dusted it, will you get it again, or do you have to wait like a full circle till you come back to opening it again? I'm not sure.
No, I think you get them.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think my understanding is that if you had it and you dusted it, it still counts it as you had it.
Yeah, I
in
think
terms
so too.
of your collection, and it won't prioritize giving it to you. I don't know. I'm not a good person to ask on this, because I tend to like wail out and just keep the cards even if they're not good.
I will say this time around, I got the entire set way easier than I've ever yes, I did get both pre-orders, but that's never gotten me the whole set. This time it did, except for a couple of legendary crafts that I had to do at the end.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Plus the gold that I had. But it just full solidly got me everything, and I had enough dust to craft what was left, and it was just a few legendaries.
Huh.
So it definitely, this duplicate thing does help, for sure.
Yeah. All right. No, I agree. And I think of the things that they've done for free-to-play players, that is probably the most generous of them. I'll never forget, I've told the story so many times, but back when they were doing the legendary quests, I opened, it was either 3 or maybe 4 copies of the Shaman Unite the Murlocs quest, and I was so angry because I just kept opening it, and like I was missing like core legendaries, and it was so frustrating. Like I want, the cool legendary, and I kept opening the stupid Unite the Murlocs. I was like, no, and then you dust it for, what is it, 800 dust? It's like, it feels so bad. 400 dust. That's even worse. It's terrible. Anyways, so
Blizzard, please make it 800.
Shows you what I know, right? But after that, I think that is one of the greatest things that they've ever done for free-to-play players, was the duplicate protection. You can tell I never dust. Yeah, no, I really don't. It's I probably should.
Or you just hit the big button and it's all part of the package, at the end of when you open an expansion. Just 21,000 dust, whatever,
Well, I crafted some gold cards over this week that I had been kind of wanting I've been trying to do ones that can be in multiple decks. I primarily will play the Cabal classes, so Mage, Priest, and Warlock. And so the cards that go in those, I finally got around to crafting a Blood Mage Thalanos, and for Warlock I did Lord Godfrey, and a Tigidus I did as well.
I love
What,
Godfrey.
what about Cthulhu? Want in?
I don't have it golden. I would like it. I'm pretty close. I'm about 600 dust away from being able to do it. So I know it's sad that the deck we're going to be playing tonight, it's all gold except Cthulhu. It's really sad.
Someone gift Nate some packs right now.
The thing is, Nate, you have every card like in gold and regular, like normal. That part blows my mind. Like you could just dust some normal cards and you could craft the golden Cthulhu.
Oh,
Like it's that one to me is so mind blowing. Like you don't need the normal one.
That's a heavy decision though. I mean,
Like you don't need it. You're never gonna play it.
oh my God, Nate's a hoarder. Oh God,
He has both versions.
he's a
of
card
all of them.
hoarder.
you can only
He
see
needs help.
you guys only see what you see on the camera here, but to the right and to the left of me I've got 10 feet tall stacked of newspapers and old food. No, I'm totally joking. I'll have to think about that. That would net me a lot of dust actually.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I did that for a long time too, and then I realized how dumb I mean, no offense, but I realized how dumb it was to keep it, and I got so much dust. I mean, it was like, it must have been like 64,000 dust or something. It was insane.
Yeah, okay, but it's like the return dust value for legendaries is so low that I don't know, like you only get 400, and so
Maybe you should hold out because we're gonna convince Blizzard to give us 800 for it.
that's right. I'll wait until if they change it and their return value for dust is better, then I'll go do it. Like in a
I'm wondering
snap.
what other thing is if they ever make wild cards discounted when like to craft them, because that's another thing people ask for. Like if it's something that's in wild, give it to us as a discount. Like instead of 100 dust to craft this, like make it 50, something like that.
That'd be the day.
That would be amazing, but at the same time, I'd also feel really bad about myself for all the cards I've crafted. Like, have they kept a tally on everything that us wild players have crafted? Will we get a refund? Probably not.
Actually, you guys are really. It's very tempting because I've gotten very close to golden decks for Reno Priest and Reno Warlock. A lot of Warlock stuff. Like I could do it.
You should do like a Crypt style video where you make and you hit the button and everything.
Yeah, I'd have to go through.
Cthulhu in chat makes a really good point that people possibly would migrate over to Wild if they did put the cards at a discount.
They probably would.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
They might not want that to happen.
When we look at historically, right, when they were really trying hard to push standard, and they pushed too hard, in my opinion, because I mean, we've talked about it before, but I never forget when they said, hey, you've got until this date and we're taking Naxxramas and we're pulling it out of the shop, and then you can't buy it anymore. If you already own it, you can keep it, but otherwise you can't buy it anymore. I was like, man, you guys are monsters.
That made me so mad.
It made me so frustrated, and then they pulled it, and then about a year later, I think it was, they're like, we're putting it back. You can't buy it.
Yeah.
I said you have to buy it online. You can't gift it either. By the way, I tried over the past week, and you cannot gift it. You have to buy it.
The problem with standard I've seen is that why can't I own the cards that I own? Why can't I use them? What is the reason for making me not use my collection? I mean, that's the only thing that I have a gripe with. Otherwise, I think standard should be a fine format. I get why it rotates, right, to keep the meta fresh and all, but then there are other ways to do this. Like wild meta is also not very stale compared to what people think. Wild meta also changes a lot from new expansions. So why shouldn't we be able to use our collections?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of standard and meta changing, we've got some nerfs to talk about, so maybe we should jump on that.
For sure. So we did get some nerfs, and we can go through these one by one. There's not too many of them.
No,
Some of them,
and I think only a couple of them really affect wild.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, let's start with Blade Dance. Blade Dance is or was a 2-mana Demon Hunter spell. Deal damage equal to your hero's attack to 3 random enemy minions. It now costs 3 instead of 2. So, wild speaking, what do we think? Would Odd Demon Hunter ever consider putting this in, or is this hot garbage? What do you guys think?
Oh,
I mean, it's good against aggro decks, like your token druid, aggro druid, or what other aggro cards there are. But I can't think of anything in Odd Demon Hunter that you would pull to put this, and it mostly works when you're running weapons plus Twin Slice. I mean, you could, but I don't know.
No, I think it's quite a good card with the new build where you get your hero power to maximum, right? You suddenly do 12 attack with your hero power. There's a build of Demon Hunter running that. So I think it'll be quite good. Like Kingsbane had a card like that, if you remember, a boomerang or something. It used to throw your weapon
Blade Flurry.
damage. To
Doomerang.
Fury, yeah.
Oh, Blade Flurry. Yeah.
Right, that one. So I think it'll work in the same manner.
Yeah, it could. I mean, I think it's worth experimenting with. For sure. I mean, I played a little bit of standard, mostly doing achievement stuff, and it's really frustrating having them not only get a super big attack and then clear your board all at the same time. So it's worth experimenting with.
I don't know. I have to disagree a little bit. I think the word random is what I would not want to put it in for. If it was like 3 to all, yeah, but it's 3 random minions. So
Yeah, no, that's
unless
true.
you get it out early, it's not very. You want a wide, clear a wide board. It doesn't really do a whole lot for you.
That's a good point.
I don't think it really helps. From my perspective.
I've done this on a board where there was like a bunch of 1/1s, but a couple big boys. And I'm like, all right, YOLO. I hit all the 1/1s.
Murphy's Law. Always get you.
Yeah. So, all right. So we got another Demon Hunter one here, and it's Shard Shatter Mystic, 3 mana, 3/2. That is the battle cry. Destroy a soul fragment in your deck. Deal 3 damage to all other minions. That is now 4 mana to do so. So obviously not something you could play in an odd deck. So this now at 4 mana, if anybody's playing anything different than odd, but this is a soul Demon Hunter build anyway. So it's not really an odd deck. So what do you guys think about this one?
This is a standard nerf. I mean,
Yeah.
the deck is good in standard. You can play it in wild, but like, why would you? Because everything else is so much better. I mean, the deck is so strong. It's funny though, because I mean, I just don't think you need to play it in wild because all of the Demon Hunter cards are still standard. So unless you're putting some neutral cards in the deck, I mean, it's essentially a standard deck plus Lotheb, right?
Yeah. So just go play standard.
You
At
may
this
as
point,
you
if
may
you're
as
gonna play
well.
that deck.
I mean,
Yeah.
the power level in wild is so high that if you're going to play something, like it needs to be equally degenerate, otherwise you're going to lose.
Hey, and you can go get those legendary quests done. Play 3 games in standard and play this.
I think if again, I'm an off-meta guy, but I mean, I look at it from this is what I was saying. The other card doesn't have. It's 3 to all. It's guaranteed 3 to all. So if you're doing something that's not odd Demon Hunter, then you can. I think you can build something with this even at 4 mana. It's a little slow, against the hard aggro, but 3 to all is not bad for 4 mana. I think.
Yeah. No, it's not. That's true. I mean, this is because it's basically targeted. It's very good against the aggro decks. Your Odd Paladin, your token like aggro druid, any sort of pirates, or a lot of the rogue decks. So
the only other problem is if you're trying to get board presence, this is all other minions, right? It's not just just their side of the board, right?
That's true.
So,
all right,
it's got to be on defense here.
Yeah. What's up next?
Okay, so next we have Dreadlord's Bite. It's also Demon Hunter. All these Demon Hunter nerfs. I mean, I guess, new class, got to balance it. It was a 3 mana 3/2 weapon. Outcast, deal 1 damage to all enemies. It has lost 1 attack. It is now a 3 mana 2/2 Outcast, deal 1 damage to all enemies.
Interesting. Yeah, okay.
I mean, basically, it was a better Fiery War Axe, kind of. Like at the same 3 mana 3/2 with an effect. Fiery War Axe does not have an effect.
Right.
So the warrior card, right? The warrior card, which
yeah.
Which used to be 2 mana. Rest in peace.
Maybe that should get unnerved. Maybe.
Yeah, right? Like, come on, bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this one really affects us all that much. If you're running it in Odd Demon Hunter, I don't know that you take it out. I don't know. I'm hardly the expert at that class. Although I think when I hit Legend with it right before it got nerfed the last time, and I was running a couple weapons in it. So, and this one was good, really good at 3. Maybe as a 2/2. Maybe you don't run it anymore. I still think it's probably worth experimenting with. They just made it so easy to do face damage and clear the board at the same time. So having the 1 less attack, also it loses the synergy with the Bladed Lady by 1. So
I think I still run it in like a control Demon Hunter.
You could. I think it's still pretty. It's still pretty
stops
good.
Your paladins. It stops your aggro druids. Or at least slows them down.
Yeah, if I'm running an Odd Demon Hunter, I probably still keep it. I don't think it changes significantly. Yeah, Fiery War Axe got nerfed. It used to be. It was a 2 mana 3/2, and they reverted to, or they made it cost 3 instead of 2.
2 mana 6 damage at the time was pretty crazy.
We used to call it Fiery Wind Axe.
Fiery Wind Axe.
Yeah.
Fiery Golden Warrior Axe for me.
Okay, so those are all the Demon Hunter nerfs, and then we've got 3 more that are neutral. No.
Yeah.
Two that are neutral.
2 more.
One hunter.
Or 2 neutral.
So let's go with the hunter one first. This also feels like it's a major standard nerf, and we've got a little comment that proves that. But so Dino Tamer Brand, the hunter legendary, that is the 7 mana 2/4 battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, summon King Crush, is now going to be 8 mana. So 1 turn later, we will be able to get a King Crush, which is technically only 1 turn earlier than you could actually summon one anyway.
It's bad because we lose the synergy with the other Bran in Wild. Like you could do Bran into Dino Tamer Bran, and now you can't do that anymore, which is really frustrating. And I'll pull it up in just a second. Alec Dawson from Blizzard, I do have to give him props because he gave their rationale behind each nerf, which they didn't used to do. They used to just say, we're nerfing these cards. And lately they've been saying like why they're doing it. Because a lot of times it was really confusing. Like, why are you nerfing that card? It's not even good. And at least he's saying why. And I thought the reason for this one was interesting, where they were saying, hey, Highlander Hunter is so good right now that the thing that keeping it in check was Demon Hunter and now that we're nerfing Demon Hunter, we're preemptively nerfing the regular Hunter so that it doesn't get too good, which I thought was a kind of a weird reason, but they have access to like the hidden stats, you know. So
at least there's an explanation, not like when Hex got nerfed and we're all wondering
like why.
What?
Yeah, let me pull this up real quick, just since we're on it. He says, hello, the nerfs. I'm just going to quote from his Twitter page here. Hello, the nerfs tomorrow are mainly focused on lowering the overall power level of Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter's population in higher levels of play was growing week over week, hitting nearly 35% last week. Our approach was to look at the two decks, Aggro and Soul Fragment Demon Hunter, separately as their power cards differed between them. The nerfs to cards like Dreadlord's Bite, Voracious Reader, and Lorekeeper Polkelt are aimed at reducing the refill and reach Aggro Demon Hunter currently has. For Soul Fragment Demon Hunter, our changes to Blade Dance and Shard Shatter Mystic are focused on the efficiency of their board clearing ability. Blade Dance was a card that got significantly more powerful as Demon Hunter accumulated more ways to gain attack, Twin Slice, change, new weapons, etc. And didn't agree with one of the outlined class weaknesses. Demon Hunter is supposed to have killing big minions. Our last change is the nerf to Dino Tamer Brand. This was a preemptive change as we saw a potentially dominant matchup spread for Hunter after these changes. Finally, what about Warrior? Warrior was the class benefiting the most from a meta centered around Demon Hunter. The current matchup spread for Warrior is quite wide, a strong mix of good and bad matchups, and we want to evaluate how it performs with lower Demon Hunter population. This is these are specifically standard nerfs, but it's interesting to hear the rationale, and I will say that I really appreciate them getting into why they're doing it. I'm surprised that they didn't touch the Skull of Gul'dan, because that's the issue. I mean, when we look at the next one, right, we pull up they're nerfing Polkelt from 4 to 5. And the sole reason, like, you run that in any Demon Hunter deck is you play Polkelt and then it draws you your Skull of Gul'dan that then you can play for the Outcast and draw a bunch of cards that you can then play for super low mana cost. And so, but if they would have just nerfed Skull instead, then maybe they don't have to touch Polkelt. Let's jump on the other cards, and then we can get into his other comments specifically about Wild. A couple people asked questions specifically about Wild, and he answered. So,
okay. So the next one, well, since you already mentioned Polkelt, we'll jump to that one. Polkelt, which we already know is an amazing card that we see lots of, is the 4-mana 4/5 that says Battlecry, reorder your deck from the highest cost card to the lowest cost card. Originally 4 mana, same effect, 5 mana now. So how do you guys feel about this going from 4 to 5? One turn later, does it really matter? Are you always playing it on curve? What do you guys think?
I don't think it matters.
I don't think you ever get it on curve, is the point. You generally get it later, so it's fine.
I tend to agree. I think what you have to ask yourself is, when am I playing this? Like, do I play it on curve? And I think the answer typically is no. It depends on the deck that you're playing. So now I think we see it in Secret Mage, right, where the earliest you're going to play it is on 5, so that you can draw a Lunith and play a Lunith on 6. And the other decks that you really see it primarily is your Reno Priest, in which you would you don't want to play it on 4 because then it draws into your it draws into your Anduin, it draws into your Psychic Scream, and you can't play those right away. So it's almost, I mean, the stats are really good for the mana cost. But
yeah, that's the thing. It's a Yeti with a massive effect at 4 mana 4/5. Like, it's not like it's a 4 mana 2/2 that does this. Like,
right.
It already is properly statted for the mana cost with the effect.
But let's imagine Reno Priest is the deck, right? We do not want to draw into our Anduin and Psychic Scream that early because we need our heals, we need our board clears. So if Polkelt is very dominant in that deck, which is the meta breaking deck at this moment, I don't think the rest of the reasons matter, because Reno Priest doesn't care about stat anyway. And for other classes, I think Pork Guild isn't that core as it is in Reno Priest.
Agreed.
If I'm not wrong.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, and I don't think that you're typically, you're not playing it for the body, you're playing it for the effect. And typically you don't want to play it on turn 4 anyways.
That's why I think that it was a little crazy to me they gave it such a good body, right?
Huh.
It could have been a spell, like a Luna's Pocket Galaxy sort of thing, and people probably still would have played it.
Right. Yeah, I think this is, I mean, I'm not getting rid of mine. I still think it's quite good. The next one is a little more interesting, I think, from a Wild perspective.
Yeah, so we got Voracious Reader, which I've been seeing a lot of lately. And so we all know it's the 2 mana 1/3 at the end of your turn draw until you have 3 cards. It is now gone up by 1 mana. It is a 3 mana 1/3 with the same effect. So all of these nerfs, by the way, every single nerf that we've gotten has just been a mana change. There's been no text on anything changed. So something of note, kind of going to a bit of an old school way of just nerfing the mana cost. But so we no longer have the 2 mana Voracious Reader. It is one more. Do you guys think that this is enough to maybe not see it in Aggro Druid, or do you think it's just jammed in there anyway? What do you guys think?
I think it just shifts. Well, go ahead, Palmas.
No, because it's in an aggro deck, right? So in turn 1 and 2, you don't use Voracious Reader anyway because you have hands and cards to play. In turn 3, perhaps, you might need to draw more cards because by the time turn 3 comes, your hand is empty. By turn 2, you never almost play it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
What do you think, Wildcard?
Well, I was thinking, I mean, it's not just that, it's just that it shifts to odd DH, odd Paladin, odd Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it probably has a minor effect in Aggro Druid, but like, that's such a boon for those, or possibly such a boon for those 3 decks. You know, it's just, I think it's they didn't think about Wild when they did that.
It's interesting. I think I mostly agree with you. I'm not quite sure. You know, when we had Cthulhu on the show, we were talking about building Odd Paladin. The deck is so refined that, you know, we were struggling, especially with the 3 mana slot where we now pulled out 1 Steward of Darkshire because we had to get rid of cards. And so I'm not quite sure, at least in Paladin, I'm not quite sure what I pull out to put this in. I definitely see the advantage. And so, you know, maybe you pull out a Divine Favor and play this instead. I'm not sure. But I could also see it in any of the odd decks. Like, yeah, I would at least think it warrants testing in odd Demon Hunter or odd Rogue. Now, I'm not typically an aggro player. I mean, I can play it, but I'm not, you know, a specialist or anything. But drawing cards is a good thing. And, you know, I like, this is the thing, like, you top deck this, you love to see it. And so,
yeah, I'm curious about trying it in Odd Rogue. Like, I don't know. 3 mana has some pretty darn good options already, and also there's the 1 mana Secret Passage. So we'll see. We'll see if it slots in there. I don't know. Somebody prove me wrong. You could be totally right. It seems a little clunky and small at that point, but
yeah, the only way you can find out is to play test it, you know, just to see, you know, like I said, the Paladin, the obvious connection is the I forgot the name of the card. Nate just said it.
Do a divine favor.
Divine Favor, thank you. Yeah, but like in Rogue, there isn't really that draw mechanic. DH, there isn't that same kind of draw mechanic right now. So who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's. I think it'd be interesting to test. It's difficult because you know, we say this every time it's time to do a card review, is that our decks are so refined that trying to remove something to slot something new in is oftentimes very difficult. I mean, it needs incredible power or incredible synergy. And so, you know, my first thought is if you know, if it's an aggro deck, they're probably already running this, and the odd or even doesn't really matter.
I mean, for Odd Rogue at the 3 slot, it's Henge Clan Thug, right? Like that's what you want,
right?
on 3, like every time.
Oh, I'd take Henge Clan over Reader any day. Yeah.
So,
and you know, do I think that this nerf, predominantly in Wild, where you're seeing this played as an aggro druid, like the token druid, and I don't really see that changing. And like Palmenaus was saying, you're not playing it on 2 anyways, because you have cards in your hand. Like if you play it on 2, you're going to draw 1 card. You know, what's the point? So
unless you got a god draw or something, and then
yeah, I mean it's
anyway.
It's possible.
But then you don't need a reader right to win if you got that turn 1 down.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Then you've I was talking to somebody about it, and then they said like usually if you have that hand, you've doubled and biggened at that point. So you know, because you've dumped your entire hand.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that they, like you said, they didn't make any text changes. They just changed mana costs, which I kind of like, just because they, in the old days, like when they nerfed a card, they would nerf it to oblivion, like to unplayability. And at least these are still playable, and it maybe
it's
changes.
It's the simplest way of nerfing something, right? Like someone could be confused, say they're a casual player, and they're like, "Oh crap! I used to be able to play Fiery War Axe on 2. It says 3 now."
I love it. Mike is in chat. He says odd druid, odd aggro druid with Leroy. There you go. Hey, what? I mean, it could be a thing. I remember.
Hey,
back
you never
in the
know.
day, I think it was Hailung who hit Legend with. It was either odd druid or even druid.
Even, yeah.
It was even druid, and it was like like talk about off meta, and so it can be done.
Yeah.
I do have one question. I guess I would aim this more towards Palmenaus, but I think anybody could answer it. Is, you know, I think a lot of times we're seeing kind of the same decks over and over and over. And so my question is, do you think that there are still decks out there that are like undiscovered that have potential to be, you know, highly playable or good?
I must say that there are, because what is the meta? Let's ask ourselves. It is the most effective way of winning, right? So if you are someone who net decks, for example, you go to Neon site and then you pick the latest deck and then just play it, right? New decks aren't getting discovered. People aren't willing to experiment with their cards because, first of all, it hits your MMR. It impacts your MMR if you lose too much. So you can play it in casual, but in casual you don't actually get to test against the decks that matter in rank ladder. So which is why I think experimentation is low in Wild, because people just generally do not know what to do with their cards. Not everyone is a good deck builder. What they do is they take a tried and tested deck and then go through with it all their lives. But for example, the deck I have been trying to build, the Cthulhu Warlock, obviously it's something that is a bit out of the way. It's not heard of ever, but I think it works quite well against certain kind of decks. And unless you experiment, you never find it. And Wild players are very reluctant to experiment for some reason. And there are decks like Evenlock which need much more refinement. It still won't be good by any stretch of the imagination, but it won't be bad. That's what I'm saying. In Wild, there are many decks which are not good, but they are not bad either. And that is only possible. That is only possible because Wild has a huge collection to derive from, and if someone can make combinations work, I think the game spins on its head.
I agree with you 100%. I wish that there was more, and it's so easy to find, you know, decks that other people are playing with. I mean, even then, in you know, it's easy to go. You go to Neon site, you go to Tempo Storm, you go to HS Replay or Vicious Syndicate, and you find someone else's list, and you can just run it. I think my only counter argument would be that just because you can, you know, you're able to copy someone's list doesn't mean that you're going to be able to pilot it very well. But
True.
But I agree with you. I mean, I feel like there's a very big lack of experimentation, particularly in deck building. So there's just like the secret sauce is out there somewhere, and it just hasn't been discovered yet.
I think a big issue with that is we're in the age of the internet, right? Like, it's so easy to be able to go on the internet and find these things.
Right.
When the game was newer, people were experimenting, people were trying to figure this stuff out. Take a game like Magic, where you couldn't just hop on the internet and figure out what was good. You had to sit there with your cards, and you had to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to, pilot this tournament and everything like that. It's become a little easier now, right? You want to rank up, you see what's on Twitter, you see who hit rank 1 legend with which deck. It's super easy. Though to say, you can't say that there aren't people out there that are deck builders, because there definitely are. And I know, like, Wildcard, he's raising his hand right now because this guy I know, I remember not long ago, he was posting saying, is there any streamers out there that play off meta decks? I want to watch them. Is there anybody playing off meta decks? And yeah, they're hard to find. I do want to say Labore Sangre is one of the best, who will just take some idea. Like, I swear, this guy goes to work and he's sitting there and he's like, I'm going to Anka, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to kill him. And then, and so he thinks of all these things, and then he comes home from work and he does it. He goes on stream and he'll pilot something like that at a very high rank against all of the meta decks. And I appreciate guys like that. So Wildcard, you already raised your hand there.
Yeah, no. No, but I obviously I have some input in this. No, it is. You first of all, you got to be smart about the meta too. You can't just say, well, I want to build blah 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 and just play it. You got to know what you're playing against, because the meta is the meta. It's 90% of the decks that you're going to see are either like this aggro deck or this control deck or this OTK deck. So you've got to think, what are my options? What are my answers for these decks? And what do I want to do? And how can I do this against these decks? It's an entire puzzle. It's the thing I find most fascinating about playing Wild, is that creative aspect of it. But you can. But a lot of times you fail because you want to do the thing, and then Reno Priest happens, and you're like, I can't do the thing, because you just get owned, and that's okay to fail sometimes, but you keep plugging away at stuff, and sometimes you hit legend with or near legend with off meta stuff,
Yeah, I do want to give a couple shout outs, particularly, like you said, Labore Sangre typically playing a lot of off-meta stuff as a deck builder. Mike Lowe plays a lot of off-meta stuff. Recently, he built a Shrivala Paladin with the new N'Zoth that has been really fun to watch. Ben from work he does a lot of things. I think he did a Holy Wrath Paladin a while back. He's playing an OTK Demon Hunter deck right now. And you can do well with those. I think, like Wildcard was saying, one of the trickiest things is you can build your off-meta deck, but it's then how does that interact with the current meta? And when you're seeing super refined Reno Warlock, Reno Priest, Secret Mage, like, oftentimes feels bad to run your your off-meta deck into some highly refined meta deck. But I mean, we've been having fun with it. So the last few weeks, once a week, we'll sit down for a couple hours and play off meta decks, and I mean, we can get wins off of the meta decks, and I think that those are the most satisfying, right? Is when we
No, what makes the deck off meta is that it can actually net wins against some meta decks. It loses to the general field, but at least it guarantees wins against something else. That's
true. That's a good take.
And it makes you, I think, a better player too, because you have to try that much harder, to get the wins, instead of just, when you play a meta deck, you get in that rhythm and you can just coast. You really can. But when you play off meta, every game's a challenge.
Yeah, it's not just basically if it's a meta deck against a meta deck, it almost becomes a math equation, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you do this, here's my counter, right? I'll do this, here's your counter. You got the off meta deck, got to get that brain thinking, right? It's a whole new level. It's not just playing the meta. You're solving your own puzzle.
Well, and that's why I think
Yeah, I think a parallel can be drawn to chess because there are openings which are quite usually used in competitions, but then someone comes up with something which is very innovative. You are stuck figuring out what the hell is this guy playing. So you also mispilot your deck or your board game in this matter.
right. Well, that's why it's so exciting when I see like that the tournament that Mike is going to be hosting in early January that has got special deck building rules, and so you can't just get Reno. You can't play Reno Priest in that. You can't play Q Block or anything. You have to create special decks for these. And the fun thing about that is like every single deck is off meta, and a lot of times like I know how to play into Reno Priest. I know how to play into Aggro Druid, and like you just know right off the bat you're not going to see those. So it gives it a special I don't know, like we were talking earlier, like watching Worlds was a little bit awkward because I'm not familiar with any of these decks, but you got the best players in the world and they're all playing essentially the exact same lists, and it turns into a math equation. And it gets a little stale when this like special rules, everybody's playing off meta. It makes it, in my opinion, a lot more entertaining to watch. So I like that. Before we get too far off track, I did want to bring up, I forgot about this, but there were comments about Wild in particular that Alec talked about on Twitter. Real quick. Yes. So somebody said, I'm just going to read these. They're on the screen here if you want to follow along, or you can go on the Twitter. But somebody called Mark HS said, "Hey, great to get such comprehensive explanations from the developers. Thank you. I think these are good nerfs. I like how responsive the team is. Would you consider reverting Bran back to 7 mana when it rotates into Wild? It won't be an issue at 7 mana in that format." One word answer, yes. And then there was a follow-up question. How is Wild factored into the nerfs? Raza Priest is also hit by the Polkelt nerf. Was that an intentional hit at the current top deck, or is that an incidental bonus? And he said, we saw the Polkelt nerf as a way to hit a number of issues, Wild included. We'll see how that plays out in Wild specifically and decide if further changes are necessary for a deck like Raza Priest. And so we'll see. It will be interesting. For me, I don't think that it fundamentally changes the deck all that much, but I've played Polkelt on curve many times, playing Reno Priest, and you just have to pray that the Warlock player is not playing Gnome Feratu and or Ticketus, right? But the Gnome Feratu one will snipe your win condition there.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, I do like that specifically that they're keeping Wild in mind with some of these, and I really do hope for all of our sake that they revert the Bran in particular back to 7 when it rotates to Wild. It feels unnecessary in Wild, at least. I mean,
the fact that they said yes, that they'll consider it, I mean, everyone's gonna hold this against them if they don't.
Well, we all know Hunter is not a problem in Wild anyways. I mean, it's definitely playable, but it's not top tier, and so I don't think that causes any problems.
Yeah, so. It's weird that it's like one of the best deck or the best classes in Standard and the worst class in Wild. It's
I've always wondered why Doohan plays Wild. He should just port over to Standard and make his mark there.
He loves us. That's why. Because
his hunter's mark.
That's funny, but yeah, I do like that. I mean, he was very decisive. Yes. So I mean, you can read into it, but I don't see any reason why not. So we'll see. Now, I do want to compare the Polkelt nerf to the nerf that we saw to open the Waygate, and when they changed it from 6 spells to 8, and everybody was complaining that it wasn't enough, and then it turned out, yes, it was enough. And so I don't want to say that that they're wrong here, or that this has a large impact on Wild. I mean, personally, I think we all sort of agree that oftentimes you're not playing Polkelt on 4 anyways, and so because of that, it probably lessens the impact. But I do kind of prefer these micro adjustments versus like destroying the card.
Mm-hmm. Though, hold on, with Open the Waygate, did it not happen where it got played even more afterwards?
I don't think
Yeah,
I don't think the numbers really changed very much, but over time, like I think it took a good couple of months before we saw a big decrease. But like I did my Legend Climb this month. I played a bunch of games this entire month. I've seen maybe one or two quest mages. That's it. I mean, it's just
they're not around as much now. But when it was nerfed, it totally didn't go away. Like it was all over the place.
I think.
Yeah, I agree with Hydralisk. Yeah.
I think that people were wanting to experiment with it though, and to find out, did the nerf make a difference? And I think we're kind of pushing Blizzard to see, did it make an impact or not? And so nobody stopped playing with it for the first couple of months. But part of it, I also think, is the combination, because when they hit Evocation, that hurt the deck also. And so Evocation at 2, I think people stopped running that card entirely. And so after 2 nerfs, it's like maybe this isn't the greatest thing anymore.
Yeah, I think Reno Priest is what killed it. I think Reno Priest getting better is what killed that deck more than that deck's nerf. That deck's nerf didn't
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I think Illucia was a big counter to it, right? If they they finish the quest, you play Illucia and you steal their quest reward. But I don't think that, I feel like Quest Mage was a good counter to Reno Priest. I mean, you had to YOLO when you play the quest, but because Reno Priest is typically pretty slow, I mean, you could scam wins off of them. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I agree with you there.
All the hot takes.
Yeah, it could just be that people just want to play the better deck. If you're playing a top meta deck, why would I play Quest Mage when Reno Priest always gets wins? That's just, just a better deck.
Or you could just play Warlock.
Make Quest Mage great again. Kidding.
No. No.
Just kidding.
I remember there was a time when Quest Mage was in the meta. I used to run 2 copies of Nerubian Unraveler in every deck. It was disgusting. It was disgusting, that deck. You had to sit and wait for the opponent to finish you. You had no say in the matter whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
At least that would, yeah, no, it does. And you'd have to build decks specifically to counter it, which is difficult. And it forces you to play suboptimally. It was very frustrating. And I think one of the things that felt the worst about the Quest Mage, to me at least, was the random factor of it. Oh yeah, I play 3 ice blocks, and just the stuff that they would get off of Evocation and with Sorcerer's Apprentice reducing everything down to 0. It's like I get so frustrated, because it's one thing when you know what the opponent is playing, at least you can play around it to some extent, or that it's coming. Where with Quest Mage, it's just random. It's all random, and who knows? Yeah. And you can't play around that. You just lose, and it's very frustrating.
Plus, it was a very high skill deck. I'll agree with that. But even when played poorly, you chalked out wins. That was very bad to see, because RNG worked in your favor.
Right. I feel like the cards that keep dodging the nerf, Sorcerer's Apprentice and Edwin Van Cleef, maybe they'll be touched though after the rotation or the rework.
I really hope they don't nerf Edwin. Just rotate him. I don't know. I don't think he's a problem in Wild.
I don't either. Rotation, honestly, Hall of Fame seems like the perfect solution. To me.
Hall of Fame Edwin for sure. Sorceress, I might not complain if they touch Sorceress.
All they have to do is say cannot reduce below 1. That would fix the problem. That'd be okay.
They fixed Snip Snap the same way, right? Why can't they do it to mages?
Yeah. Did you, as a Warlock player, did you play a lot of Snip Snap?
No, I hated that deck because. No, I just hated that deck. It didn't feel like Warlock. Philosophy with Warlock begins and ends with drawing cards at the expense of your life total. Snip Snap absolutely skip past all of that to get a broken win condition. I hate decks like that.
It was definitely not honorable. I'll give you
No.
that.
I tried to play it one time on my lunch break on my cell phone. I tried to do it, and you can't play that on a phone. It didn't
No.
work.
You need to have good APM. It's very difficult to do.
I was
on a
like,
phone.
come on, come on.
Swipe,
like,
swipe,
okay.
swipe.
Yeah.
Never played it again. It was the one and only attempt I made.
That's pretty funny. I saw PalmenausPlastik. I saw Ben. We played with Ben from work a while back. This is a while back, but he was playing Quest Warlock with God, I think it was Malagos. And so you draw, and a whole bunch of burn. So fun. Is it good? I don't know, but it was so fun.
Yeah, the quest. I feel like the quest needs to be experimented with a lot because I don't. It's a huge requirement to finish it. It's 20 cards, but still, I mean, I think it has a lot of potential because with plot twist, I mean, you can do things with it, and especially when Warlock has Solarium and plot twist that combo without losing anything, you finish your quest. I think it needs to be experimented upon. A big Warlock sort of, which is not Darkest Hour, but something like a LPG Mage could be achieved by experimenting a bit more.
That
think it's
reminds me. Have you played it all with the deck of chaos?
I have tried slotting it into every deck, and it didn't work out at all. I mean, I was very hyped for Deck of Chaos, and it did nothing for me. So I have not kept it in any of the lists.
I think that was one where we got so excited when we first saw the card, like just the potential is crazy, but it's just not good enough.
It's too expensive. I have three things to say about it. It's too expensive. It does not have a good animation at all. I'm play. And the third thing is, of course, that once it hits that curve, it's a spell which does nothing. For 6 mana, that turn you get nothing. It's like a worse Aluneth in that case. Well, at least Aluneth, you're guaranteed something, right? But with Deck of Chaos, you're guaranteed random things which might not even be needed at that point.
Right.
I think our thought was because Pocket Galaxy was good, right? And this was cheaper. Maybe that's
Yeah.
I don't know. One day that's the thing. Like this is an eternal format, so I also think like the Warlock quest, drawing 20 cards. That's scary for me being in this format forever.
Yeah.
With what could come out, and same with Deck of Chaos. Like
No,
cards are bad. They are bad. So that's why it's good that it's 20. You know,
the hot take. The animation is terrible. I love that. I agree. Also, so that's what Mike's saying that in the chat, and also Ben saying I think one of the bad effects is that it doesn't affect your hand at all. It's only your deck. I kept feeling that there's a build around where you could play Malagos for 4 mana, but so that you'd have to build around, but even then, none of it's guaranteed. Like you would have to specifically tutor for the spell, which you really can't. I mean, you'd have to be running probably double plot twist and maybe even the quest, and even then, it's a little bit too random. I don't think that it's.
Plus, what if you draw a Malagos in your hand, then your entire plan is foiled.
Right. Yeah. No, it just feels really bad. Yeah. You'd have to. I don't know. You'd probably play the Deck of Chaos and then plot twist. But what are the chances that you're going to do that? And then you just have to stall early game. Like it just doesn't feel good enough.
Yeah, I guess that could work. You would shuffle it back in. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What is your take?
It's a lot of wasted effort to make something work when Thorison does it with far more effectiveness.
Right. What is your take on Ticketus?
Oh, it's my favorite card. I grab popcorn before playing it. I get grab popcorn and just wait for the opponent to concede because he's not doing anything after the Ticketus.
Oh, that's
especially
good.
Or
especially for the big priest players. I mean, it feels great just burning every resurrect spell there is.
Yeah, I've good time playing it against the Reno decks as well. The Reno Priest in particular, playing a ticket is just so satisfying.
And with the combo decks that are doing the rounds, like Druid is running a lot of combo as well, right? So you mill one of these cards and their game is over. But
Yeah.
a ticket is actually mills 10, so the game is doubly over.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, with Bran, Hydra, do you remember that game we played? That deck you had, we milled, what was it, 30 cards, right? I mean, we played.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I got to post that replay somewhere. It was amazing.
In one turn, we played Bran and 3 copies of Ticketus in one turn. We milled the entire deck.
I'm telling you, the
was so
Warlock
good,
has never gotten a card as good as Ticketus.
That's why I was surprised that it didn't get touched on a nerf. Like, I think it's fine. It's not a broken card by any means, but 5's a bit much. That's always been my stance on it. Maybe 3, maybe 2.
Because you're a big priest player, I get your sentiment.
I did. One of the 2 games I lost was to a Ticketus. So tipping my hat to the audio for the audio listeners. I'm tipping my hat. But yeah, it does feel bad because that's what it is. It's a feels bad card. You don't want to, it's not like you just got bested. It's kind of like it's like Mill Rogue. It's the same thing where you're not really beating me. You're not knocking my, you're just destroying my deck, and that's just not fun. So.
Oh, and resurrecting taunts is fun.
What's that?
Resurrecting taunts is fun. Endlessly.
It is more big stuff over and over again.
Well, this is the thing. I think the way that Ticketus works is when you pull it off on your opponent, it feels like you're the king of the world. Like it's the best thing ever, right? When it happens to you, you start throwing your keyboard, right? I mean, it's like it's horrible. It's the worst feeling. But
because you can't stop it. That's the thing. You're like, I mean, I've known like I'm trying to draw it because when you realize you're playing against a Ticketus deck, let me start drawing my stuff. Let me start getting my stuff in my hand that I need because I don't want it to get burned and lose. And you start playing it a different way to not get your deck destroyed. It's terrible. That's not how
it's very hard. It's very, very, very hard to stop a Ticketus Warlock because it always corrupts well, and it always sees play in any Warlock deck because you have at least a Void Lord or a Mal'Ganis to trigger it, right? At the least.
Right.
So I think unless you dirty rat and get lucky, I don't think you're stopping a Ticketus Warlock. The only way to stop it, I see people making a case against it by saying it is bad because I think it is slow. It is not a guaranteed win condition. It is very slow to come, and you need to have both presence. You cannot just brand Ticketus and then expect to win because you don't have a taunt wall guarding you, right? You're doing nothing with a board. It is not a block. It is not a rush or charge or anything. So it's a turn where you are sacrificing a lot of tempo for future benefits. So you need to have a board presence first and then play Ticketus. You can't just play naked.
Mm-hmm,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've done that by mistake as well when I first started playing with it a little bit.
I drop it without it being corrupted.
Let me just tempo this out real. Oh, yeah.
Whoops.
I'm a moron. Yeah.
Concede.
Yeah.
I've seen people running it in a lot of Reno decks lately, and I think the thing that you'd have to be careful about is it's got some anti-synergy with Void Caller and with Witch Willow, but worst case scenario, they still pull a giant minion. So, worst case scenario, the battle cry doesn't trigger, but that's okay if you need the body.
But I solely exclude Archwillow and Void Callers in lists that I run Ticketus. I do not want it to be a stats-based minion. I want it for the battle cry.
Agreed.
I will not include it in the deck if it weren't for the battle cry.
So I'm sorry. So you don't use Void Caller with Ticketus? Did I understand that correctly?
No.
Okay.
Nor Archwitch Willow.
No.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably a good take because it just feels really bad. I mean, Q Block is a great deck. and that's primarily where you're cheating out these minions, and Ticketus just is not probably a good card for that deck, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well,
and if you're not having Bran, I'm sorry for the last time.
No,
If you're not having Bran, I don't think it's worth playing at all. The 5 cards burned isn't much, in my opinion. It doesn't win you the game.
Yeah. It's crazy when you think about it, because 10 cards is a third of their deck, and by the time you play it, a third of their deck has probably already played, because you're waiting now until turn 8. And by that time, it's pretty much like the rest of their deck is gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing was with the deck, Nate, that we were playing it was try to get to your Ticketus ASAP. So that was different. It was a full on let's get to Ticketus and destroy their deck. That one was different. It was straight up let's Ticketus.
It was running
everything.
It runs Geppetto, and so you pull Ticketus as a 1, as a 1/1, so it's super easy to corrupt, and then you just brand Ticketus, Zola Ticketus, or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and,
it was dirty. It was very dirty. That was the point of it. So it was we mostly lost with it, but when we won, it was like so degenerate that it was worth it. I would not play it on the ladder, I don't think, but it was very, very fun. I'll give you that. So,
For you, not for the opponent.
Oh no, it was beautiful. Yeah, a recent opponent would like to be your friend.
Right,
Yeah,
Well, that's pretty much it for the news and the nerfs. I'd like to talk about this deck of the week, since we're sort of talking Warlock builds.
One quick thing, Nate.
Yeah,
I really apologize.
No, it's fine.
We went 7-7.
Oh, okay. Oh, you found it.
Yeah.
Bad. No.
So
Okay.
it was 50-50. We did not mostly win. Thought I'd bring it up. 7-7.
Well, hey, we didn't mostly lose. It was definitely fun. All right. Well, let's talk about our deck of the week. So I'm going to put it up on the screen here. It's a Cthulhu Warlock, really. I mean, essentially, I'm interested in hearing Palmenaus talk about it, but in first glance for me, it's a demon-centric, like a control Warlock, really, where I've got a bunch of board clears with my Fellbolt, my Defile, my Dark Skies, Cascading Disaster, which seems surprisingly good to me, Lord Godfrey for clears, and then you've got that core demon package with the Void Callers, Dreadlords, Mal'Ganis, Voidlord. You've got Witch Willow, which will pull a couple of them. You've got Blood Reaver Gul'dan, which will bring them all back. And then against the Reno decks, you've got the Gnome Feratus, which is great after they pull Celt. And then you've got the Finley Grizzled Wizard combo to steal their hero power. And then, of course, the fun card in this deck is Cthulhu the Shattered, which actually seems pretty good to me in a control build. The spells that this that are included in the Cthulhu package seem actually pretty strong to me. So, Palmenaus, what can you tell us about this deck?
I think the Cthulhu inclusion was for the board clears mainly, and it gives us a lot of leeway. What I mean is that when you see at the beginning of the turn there's a Cthulhu being played, there's a sense of impending a turn coming where you think that is the win condition for the deck, but it is not. Cthulhu is just secondary in this deck. The first idea to win is have board control. There's a lot of aggro, and what Cthulhu gives is a lot of board clear and taunts. So that is the reason for the inclusion, without including slow cards like Hellfire and Corrupting Mist, for example. The other thing about it is that is not including Sense Demons, because I think that is too slow in this kind of a lineup. What I included instead was Free Admission, because it gives you tempo. This deck is all about playing tempo, and by turn 10 you expect to have a Gul'dan in your hand, and you have already killed many minions so that it resurrects you, and finally if they answer your Gul'dan board, then you pull off the Cthulhu and then surprise the hell out of them, because apparently no one sees it coming, right? And the one thing to be mindful about when playing Cthulhu is to watch out for counter spell, because if you cannot cast or mill or anything of Cthulhu, you will not be able to pull off the combo because all the spells needs to be casted in this deck.
Right.
And I have included Sack Pact because we need healing in this deck. It's which is the same reason for the inclusion of Mistress of Mixtures. The Finlay combo is obviously for Reno Rock. Reno Priest. Fellbolt is for clearing small minions that I don't want to waste AoE on. Defile is Defile. Two Nomferatus because, well, two Nomferatus. Then we have which you mentioned, Cascading Disaster. It is one of the single best spell cards to be added to Warlock. It will always corrupt, and it is incredible to play because you already have Fell Bolts and Defiles to clear the small minions, and then after that you can just play a 4-mana Cascading Disaster. In fact, I have played two Cascading Disasters for 8 manas, cleared big priest boards, and then they have no resurrect spells in their hand. It has worked many times, and Godfrey is for a similar reason. It is full of board clears, right? Willow gives you tempo, Dreadlord, Mal'Ganis, and Voidlord are the package, and Spear of Sapience is I love including that in any control deck because you decide what card you need, and also some people do not understand that you also decide what card you won't be using for the rest of the game because it's right shuffled back in at the end of the deck. So there are some matchups where I don't need so many board clears, so I don't mind them going to the end of the deck.
Yeah, I really like it. It seems like a lot of fun, and it's teched against your bad matchups.
Yeah.
So Cthulhu to me feels like like you were saying, like an alternate win condition where, I mean, a lot of times if you're able to control the board early game, the upper end of this has the big demons that are so difficult to deal with that, especially like the Dreadlord is one of the best cards I think that Warlock ever got, combined with the Voidlord, the Mal'Ganis, and you can cheat them out early with the Void Caller. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's like
I won't say it's a top meta deck for sure. I don't think with the shell it is possible, but it is quite a good deck. It works.
How?
Yeah, I went to.
Oh, sorry, Wildcard. Go for it. Go for it.
Because I played a little bit of it. I think I did like one win less than the Warlock Master did. It checked out. I went like 9-5 with it. And I played a fair share of like Cthulhu in other decks, and I've got my Cthulhu Druid, and I'm like, I was thinking about it when I was playing this. I'm like, Cthulhu is actually good because you get 34 cards instead of 30.
Yeah.
It's like cheating. It's a really good card to just throw in any deck. Just for that extra removal. It's so good.
And the important thing is to be not lost in the power of Cthulhu because we don't need that card to win. We cannot build a deck around that card. It's a supplementary and a complementary card. It is not the sole condition for any deck. It shouldn't be because 30 damage is nothing, and it's untargeted damage, right? A normal board full of Odd Paladins will soak it up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It doesn't all go phase. So, but it's nice, in the event that the match goes long or that, it can get you out of a bad situation potentially.
It puts them on the clock.
It is like it's your Yogg. It's a backup plan. Hey, let me ask you about free admission. Have you had when we were doing the card review shows, we had talked about it a little bit. We compared it to Sense Demons, and the question was kind of like, how do those compare? I think you sort of have to build around it.
In Sense Demons, you are specifically searching for demons. In free admission, I'm actually not. If I get demons, great, but I need my board clears. That's why I put free admission in, because it lets you draw 2 cards at the price of nothing almost. And if you get discounted demons, sometimes in turn 7, you can even do Sense Demons and then put out a big minion on board. Which, free admission, you can put a big minion on board, which discounts the demons.
The only issue with free admission that I had, and maybe this is just a meta-centric thing, was the grizzled Finley combo, Free Admission would draw one of those sometimes too. And
Yeah,
if I wasn't
sometimes you
against
want
a
that
priest,
though, right?
Exactly.
I only played against a
Exactly.
couple of priests, but sometimes you. And I think I think I went 1-1 against priest, and I don't think it factored into either of the matches for me at least. If
No,
obviously if she gets on more.
It also helps against odd paladins, for example, if you
Good
draw the
point.
combo
Yeah,
very,
very good point.
or
Yeah.
odd rogue, or even shaman, any of those decks, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just Reno Priest the combo is there for, although I put it in for that reason, but it also disrupts other things, and especially things like Jaina, for example, or Amazing Reno. You want to get rid of those hero powers, or even in a Warlock mirror where you want to get rid of the opponent's Gul'dan. You need those cards.
Yeah.
Last week after the show, I played on stream for a while, and I was playing some Reno Lock, and I remember going up against an Odd Warrior, and that's how I won. Was stealing their hero power, and they just couldn't do anything. If you can't, I think I gave them totems or something like that. And it was like, if you can't tank up every turn, you're not going to win. And all your armor cards, they don't do anything.
And pro tip: always give them the worst power in the game.
Right. Yeah, and Cthulhu saying the Uther OTK also, if it comes down to that. So it's good. I mean, there's a lot of versatility. I mean, a lot of times you won't need it, but it's nice to have in your back pocket just in case, and it messes with your opponent enough to, if nothing else, you can tilt them with a little psychological warfare.
Yeah, get a friend request after that one for sure.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, unfortunately, Reno Priest is so strong. That's one of the ways that you beat it. I mean, you're not going to out tempo it because it's so fast now. I mean, the deck is refined more than we've ever seen it refined, and trying to out tempo it is not going to work. So you just wait until they combo up, and then you steal their hero power, and then they can't win anymore.
This deck literally cannot lose to Reno Priest, which is why it works. And there's a lot of Reno Priest where I'm playing, so I mean it's just an obvious inclusion.
Yeah, mine too.
Cool.
I'm tempted to try to grind this one out to Legend next month just for the fun factor. It looks so good. So yeah, and how many times have you actually played a Cthulhu, like a fully realized Cthulhu?
That's a great question. The answer is none.
I think in all the games I've played with Cthulhu, I think I've only played it once, maybe twice. We played Wildcard, and I played a lot of it in his Druid deck, and I think that I got lethal with it once. And I was cool to see it go off, but it's very difficult because not only do you have to play all 4 cards, but even then it shuffles it into your deck, so you drawing it is not guaranteed or easy.
Consolation, I did it twice with your deck, so
Okay.
The games generally end before it goes. If it goes there, you're already. So Cthulhu makes no difference. It's just the additive cards that it comes with that makes all the difference.
Sure.
Yeah, and then fail safe at the end, just in case.
Yeah, just in case. If you're in a tempo battle, for example, a fatigue battle, and you need to get in some damage before you conk out, right? You put a jam a Cthulhu in. I've never personally got to use it, but if theoretically it should work, right?
Yeah.
it's always that it puts them on the clock, and it makes once you use all 4 of those cards, that point, they know I have to stay above 30. I have to have at least some health on the board. I can't just have.
So they start doing ridiculous things to keep the health up. Like I've seen a priest do renew from 29 health because he's worried about. Come on.
I like it though. I mean, I think that there's something to be said for playing games. You're trying to psych your opponent out or scare them into playing suboptimally. And so why not? I mean, this is great. And yeah, no, a lot of these cards, a lot of the Cthulhu cards, I agree, are really good. We see people start playing them in the battlegrounds, or not battlegrounds, I'm sorry, duels,
Yeah.
because you get so much value from them. I mean, I love seeing one of those. They're board clears or a giant taunt.
Yeah.
So.
And surprise damage to face, don't forget. 7 damage.
Yeah, it works great. So, okay. Do you guys have any other questions about the deck? I'm looking forward to playing it, I'll tell you that.
I don't know if I have anything specific until I, did we discuss? I mean, it all depends on matchup, but in general, mulligan wise, what are we looking for?
I'm looking for board clears in an aggro matchup, and the demon package in a control matchup. And Cascading Disaster is a must keep. I will never keep Finlay unless I have both of them at the same time. The Grizzle Wizard as well. Gnome Feratu I will keep against priests. I will also keep Free Admission because it's really a great tempo card. And Willow, surprisingly, I tend to keep in slow matchups because it is quite good tempo if you look at it from that perspective. The rest is just shuffle it away.
Now, the one thing with No Feratu, I had this issue come up in a game I was playing where it was against a Reno Priest, and I had a Gnome Feratu in my hand, and I was like, I wanted to hold it for when I saw Polkelt come out, but I was just like, and I eventually ended up just tempoing it out because I was like, I can't wait. I'll just
It's
So
a very
what would you do in that situation?
It's a great point, which is why I included 2 of the Gnome Feratus, is because once I play it, the priest gets careless, right? He thinks that, okay, it's done. You don't expect a second one incoming. So they do a poll kill. And then I put a Gnome Feratu and it's a friend request after the match.
Mind games, man. Mind games.
That's great.
It's all tech for the priests. I mean, a big priest, I can't do much about it.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously so high skilled, but in Reno Priest we win.
I like that. Well, and I think Free Admission is a really interesting card because I mean, you play the argument of Free Admission versus Sense Demons. They're both good in their own deck or in the right. It depends what you're trying to do with it. And I think here, when you're not necessarily looking for demons, you're looking for combo cards, or you're looking for, hey, if I'm, it'll pull demons if I need demons, but if I'm trying to get my Gnome Feratu or I'm trying to get my Finley Grizzled Wizard, that'll pull it also. And that's great, especially when half the deck is AoE. It seems.
Plus, we have to remember that we actually have 34 cards in the deck, right? So we need more of the card draws.
Right. The difficult, I think I played a little bit with it over the past couple days. The hard part that I had was struggling with Sack Pact, where because it only kills a demon, sometimes I would want to use it on something else.
I know. Sack Pact is not a to have in this deck, but it is very necessary once you see that how much aggro the meta is. You do need the healing, and we tap a lot. So I think just play it on a demon when you have nothing else to do. Right?
Sure.
We don't need to wait for a void caller. We just need to play it so that it gets added to the rest pool. For instance, shamans are running rampant in Wild sometimes. So they have evolve, revolve, and devolve. They have this trinity, and I just want to get my demon into the pool. So what I do is I get a Mal'Ganis out somehow, and then I sack pact it immediately. We hold it so that it guarantees our revival via Gul'dan.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I think one of the games that I lost to was this. I failed to play around Devolve, and you get punished for it so hard. Your taunts are gone, your invulnerability is gone, and your res pool is gone. And so the idea of, wait until you need it, kill one. And also, if you say you're approaching later game, you're able to pull a Void Lord, and maybe you're facing up against an aggro deck. You've got a Gul'dan coming. You can kill it with Sack Pack. You've got 3 taunts to replace it, and so and then revive it.
So against Demon Hunter, this Sack Pact is very effective because I'm not talking about killing their demons. I'm talking about killing mine because they run silence. So if you just target your Void Lord with a Sack Pact, you get something they cannot silence, right?
Also,
You get 3
Cthulhu mentioned that Sack Pack is really good for popping Counterspell.
Correct.
Right, and Oh My Yog as well, because Counterspell and Oh My Yog are going to be a big deal here when it comes to your Cthulhu cards, right?
Correct.
So and if you can use Sack Pack to, like, when it seems obvious it's a Counterspell, right? You can definitely use it at that point, and it's free, 0 mana.
Yeah. So. And you can just drop it just to be sure, because I said we need to pull the Cthulhu cards to win the game, right? At least we need to complete the quartet of cards. So we do need to test for spells. So Oh My Yog and, as you said, Oh My Yog and Counterspell are huge obstructions in the way.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to lose one of your big 4 Cthulhu cards. No.
No.
Lane threat is gone. Yeah.
I do have a question. Have you considered putting Skull of the Minari in this at all?
I had considered it, but there is far too much weapon removal, and at turn 5 it does nothing, and when I'm looking at a tempo deck, I cannot afford to waste a turn 5. Because as you see, we have no 5-costed cards here in this deck currently. I am just holding hope that our demon package is enough, because Minari is a dead card. Zephyr kills it, Ooze kills it. Some people even steal Minari. It's quite ridiculous how stupid it has become to play it now. Even the only time it makes sense is in Q block, where you do something after the demon is pulled out. I'm in no hurry to pull out the demon. I'm in a hurry to clear the board. And Minari does not let you choose the demons you want to pull. Sometimes you do not want to pull the Void Lord that you are hoarding for later, or you do not want to pull a Dreadlord because you know it will get devolved, for example.
Right. No, that's a really good point. I like that.
Is there any thought to putting any more early, like AOE to counter aggro? What is it? The one that does 2 to all except for the demons. I can't think of the name of the card right now.
Is it Demon Fire or something like that?
Yeah, I do not think we need more AOE at all, because we have a lot of anti-aggro tools. You will soon find that the Cthulhu, the list of Cthulhu spells also gives you an AOE. We have this thing, the Spellbolts and the Defiles and the Dark Skies and the Cascading Disasters and the God Phrase. I don't think we can. It makes no reasonable difference to add more AOE at this point.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
Sweet. Looking forward to trying it out.
Yeah. This looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited to play this. I think it'll be a blast. Yeah. What made you come up with it, or what was the inspiration for this?
Well, I had a Cthulhu and I want.
Hey, simple as that. I like it. All right. Okay. Well, I think it's about that time we can start kind of wrapping up the show, and then get on into the portion of the show where we play the deck on the ladder. Palmenaus, for people who are interested in following you online and want to interact with you or follow your content, where can they find you?
It related to Hearthstone. Twitter is great. Like, I have made a huge set of friends by interacting with Twitter. In fact, the first time I got Legend, this is a funny story I'd like to talk about. The first time I joined Hearthstone, I didn't know anyone, right? So I went to Twitter and started following who everyone else was following. So one of these German speaking people, came and approached me and said, "Are you also a German, German Hearthstone player?" And I said no. And then it turns out that he was a great player himself. He was ranked 10 consistently for a while. So I thought, hey, forget about it. Let's just teach me some Hearthstone, right? So I added him, started talking with him, and his name is Majim, by the way. He's a great player. He guided my even log deck to my first ever legend. And I think Twitter is the place to be. Reddit is full of negativity, all right, but Twitter, people post deck lists, they share things, and the retweet feature is really excellent. So, regarding all Hearthstone related content, I think the first beneficiary of that should be in Twitter.
I like that. Yeah, no, it's been a great place. I think social media in general has the tendency to backfire on people, but the Hearthstone community, particularly the Wild one, has been very welcoming, and Twitter seems to be the place to be. Of all the places, Twitter seems to be pretty.
Everything comes there first. That's what I like about it. If there's any Hearthstone development, the Twitter knows about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, if people want to interact with you on Twitter, your handle is at PalmenausP, and we'll include it with the show notes as well. And hey, Wildcard, thank you for covering for Mike tonight. We appreciate having you on. It's always good to chat. Where can people find you if they want to follow your content?
You can find me on Twitter at WildcardHearth, WildCardHerth, and you can find me at Twitch at twitch.tv/Wildcard Hearthstone. And I stream Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time and Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Central Time. So hope to see you there.
Super cool. And then we've been doing our weekly YouTube videos as well. Wildcards off meta. And they've been a blast. So it's always fun to see what you're going to come up with next. And
it's challenging, especially when you start to run out of ideas. It gets more challenging because I don't want to just make a video on a crap deck. I want to make it something people would play and actually do well with. So that's it's challenging and it's fun.
Yeah. Thank you for covering tonight. We appreciate it, and it's always good.
Always good to have you on the show. Yeah. Always good.
And Hydra, where can people find you?
Well, you could find me on Twitter and on Twitch at Hydralisk_HS. You can find me here every single Friday night at 6 p.m. PST on the Born to Be Wild podcast. And I encourage everybody to join our Discord. You can find that on our Twitter page. It's a great community. We have different channels for all different types of things, different decks, different modes. We've got channels for what TV shows you like to watch. So just pop in. It's a great community. We all have a good time. We post pictures of our cats,
dogs.
Yeah. No, it's just a lot of fun. I'll have a stressful day at work and I'll go on my lunch break and I'll just scroll through and everyone's having a great time and you just catch up on stuff and talk to your friends. It's a good place to be, so you can catch me there and everybody else there. So highly recommend you check out the Discord. Where can we find you, Nate?
Oh yeah, me, of course. So the best place is Twitter. My handle there is NateWolfTCG. It's NateWolfeTCG. More importantly, you can find the show on our website. It's borntobewildhs.com. Again, it's borntobewildhs as in Hearthstone.com. And I agree with what Hydra said. I think one of the nice things is the Discord. Mike spent a lot of time setting it up, and it's really evolved a lot over the past 6 months or so. Where just a lot of things, deck lists and everything, but also the different game modes. A lot of people, we've made a lot of friends there, and it's been a blast hanging out with people, and I tend to do that too. It's better than as far as social media goes, it's better than Facebook or anything else. I mean, it's
very welcoming. Yeah,
it is. And every once in a while, there will be some drama on there. We're very quick to get rid of it. And so we try for sure. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys coming out and,
And now, Unrelated
We
Advice
do have a follow-up question for everybody.
with Nate Wolf.
So it just as to wrap up the show here, tradition mandates that I ask you all an unrelated question, and with the holidays approaching, I have a question for you. We've all got somebody in our life that's difficult to shop for who has everything, and so my question is, what do you buy for the person who has everything? Hydra, I'll start with you.
Well, the answer, the person that already has everything is my son. That's the problem where he lives half at his mother's house and half at my house. So there seems to be a bit of a competition as to what he gets. So what do I buy him? An ability to humble himself, I suppose, because it's a struggle, man. Like, for example, I bought him a trampoline. His mom bought him a better one. Right? So, like, I don't know. It's difficult. If anything, maybe a lump of coal.
Get him some Born to Be Wild merch. Wild card. What about you? What do you buy for the person who has everything?
Oh man, something that they don't expect, something that's funny. I'm thinking about like I did this to my wife a few years, but again, it's quite a few years ago now, where I went and I had a pillow made, just like a throw pillow, and I had my face put on it, and like it wasn't anything she wanted, but it was just it's funny because it's like I'm doing this. Like I'm sleeping on the pillow in the pillow. I should go just get the big pillow, but whatever. But just something like that. And she thought it was so stupid, but it was funny. We had a good laugh about it, and it was it's stuff like that. Something that someone doesn't expect to get, but that they'll think is cool, even if it's like just something they don't care about, and you just have a good laugh about.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I like it. PalmenausPlastik, what about you? What do you buy for the person who has everything?
I think good whiskey is a good start,
Mm-hmm.
and then you even complement it better with my company, because the guy probably has the whiskey.
I love it. Wiser words were never spoken. You heard that on Born to Be Wild.